Hey, everyone, what's going on? Before we introduce everyone, I wanna call out my boy Jerome. Jerome, I I hate you, Jerome.
I love it, Jerome. I was laughing.
but to get us started, as people are slowly coming into the chat, why don't we go around and just quickly introduce ourselves, and let us know how long you have been carnivore low carb. Chad, why don't you kick us off?
Uh, 3.5 years basically carnivore, 1 year keto before that, and 2.5 years at my kind of plateau. Actually, yeah, 2.5 years at my kind of plateau weight. So no physical change. So it's no going back. If anything, I'm just getting tighter and tighter, on what I eat. Chuck roast and ribeye, pretty much the main things these days, and cheese.
Well, we'll have to talk about cheese.
Yeah,
Chuck,
just for
what's
my no gallbladder. That's the only reason. Otherwise, it would be nixed.
up? Chuck, what's going on? This is our first time actually like meeting live
Yes.
and
Yes, it is, and it's great to be here. Thank you for having me. So I actually began probably about 4.5 years ago doing kind of mainstream keto, which is still a bunch of processed kind of crap, um, and had success and then failure and kind of muddled. But probably a little more than a year now, I've been predominantly mostly carnivore is what I say. So about 8 out of every 10 days or so I am a pretty strict carnivore, and on the other days, I am extremely low carb still, probably under 20 carbs almost always.
nice. And Nurse Kim, who just changed her channel name, she got rid of all the letters.
It was because of you, Nicole. She called me Nurse Kim, so I'm like, that's who I am. I'm Nurse Kim. Forget all those letters. Forget they're out. They're out of here. All right. I am Kim. I have been keto off and on since 2017 when I saw a video of myself and was scared. I just didn't recognize myself at all. And it's amazing how you don't like you look in the mirror every day, but you don't notice that. It's weird. Anyway, so since 2017, off and on, about half off, half on. And then I have been carnivore since May 5th, but I'm really bad at keeping up with the days. So I usually have Nicole count it up for me.
Girl, I don't even know how long I've been. So, so
Yeah,
You did the calculations last time.
that's what.
Somebody do the calculations. I can't do it. I just can't.
So
I still guess now.
that's what I'm saying. I just say,
That's how I know it's a way of life for me. I'm not
yeah,
counting down the days till whatever, this is my life,
yeah.
and I'm loving it. I went to Sam's Club and got me some, what you call it today, the pork, what they make bacon out of.
Pork
Still
belly.
have pork belly. I still have memory lapses here and there, but that's just because, you know,
I have yet to
probably
eat
hormones.
pork belly. I know
Really?
like everybody air fries it. I have to try that sometime. I don't eat a lot of pork,
I
but
just
I'm
fry
sure it'd be
it.
good.
It's good.
I guess that would work too. Yeah.
Well, let me introduce myself real quick before we start going off on
Yeah.
tangents, people. So, I'm just the host. So, I'm Nicole. I've been carnivore, ketovore, low carb, whatever you want to call me, since about the beginning of the year. Kind of like Kim and everyone else, I lost track. So I just say more than 6 months. And I have just transitioned to OMAD in the month of August. So there are a couple times I've been too mad, so I kind of alternate. But the last 2 weeks, I've been predominantly too mad, and I must say, I'm happy that I arrived.
So you've been
Yay.
predominantly OMAD the last 2 weeks.
Yeah,
Yeah, okay.
it's been great. Which is easy because we're traveling tomorrow. We're going to the Jersey Shore. We're gonna meet my parents and my aunt and uncle at their we call my aunt and uncle have a we call bunker. It's at the shore house, and we're meeting everyone there tomorrow. But it's like a 3.5 hour drive for us, and so we're not going to get there until lunch. So that'll be about the time I get hungry, but I might have to shift to Too Mad. I'm not sure what I'm going to do yet because obviously everyone else is doing the standard thing. So haven't quite come up with that game plan yet, but I have 3.5 hour drive to figure it out.
I love
I
to
like
fast
it.
when traveling.
You said fast?
Yeah, I like to fast when I'm traveling because
How many
it's
hours?
just a lot of junk, you know. Well, it's 10 because we go to Florida, but
Okay.
you know, that's pretty much our
I've
yearly
tried the
vacation.
48-hour thing, and I might try it again though. I want to play with it. I want to try some 48 and 72 just to see, you know.
Usually I don't do any more than 24, and
See,
that's just here and there.
yeah. I like the OMAD because of the convenience. Just it's like you're one and done for the day, and then there's no thing. And sometimes if I'm hungry, I'll eat something that's left over because I make all my food so I have leftover almost always, and I always have some leftover in the fridge because I'll eat that, then eat my main, and then whatever's left from that main will be tomorrow's leftover. And that way I know if I am hungry later in the day, there's no making anything. I can just go in and start
Just get
eating.
something.
That
Yeah,
sounds
just start
like
eating.
me.
Yeah.
I usually cook about 3 or 4. I'm sorry, Chuck.
No, go ahead. Go
I
ahead.
usually cook 3 or 4 meats at one time and then just kind of snack on them while I'm cooking them and then save them, and I have food for like 3 or 4 days.
Yeah, I was just going to say I did probably 50-50 one meal, two meal for quite some time. But I'm purposely moving back to 2 meals a day. I cannot eat just one meal a day and actually stuff enough food in my face. And so if I go to 1 meal a day, I really begin to drop weight pretty significantly and don't really have enough energy. I kind of feel off. So yeah, and I seen Jeff pop up there. Hi, hey Jeff, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm gonna pop some chat up here, but I will say I thought I would have a hard time getting enough food down my gullet, but yeah, today I pounded. Shoot, if calories were a thing, I would say about 1,100 of those calories in one sitting, like it was nobody's business.
So how much though? Like I can on occasion I can eat a pound. Like I can on occasion eat a pound of ground beef in one sitting.
Yeah.
But it is hard for me to eat that much.
And
so if I'm only eating 1 meal a day and I'm eating 12 ounces of ribeye or 12 ounces of ground beef, it's not a lot. I mean, I'm not big. I'm only 5'6".
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, I eat a variety of foods though. So I ate a piece of steak, 2 Italian sausages, 3 eggs with cheese, and a side of blueberries. And it was all cooked in ghee. And I cooked my eggs in just regular butter because I already cooked everything else yesterday, and they were all cooked in ghee. So it had a lot of extra fat in there with the ghee. I taste the ghee, and that fills me up a lot faster. But yeah, I was able. I had to take a little 5-minute intermission, but I did.
Yeah, okay. You got quite a bit in.
I got it all in.
Yeah, that's.
So let's go through the chat and see who we got here. Now we have people starting to come in. And JP says bunker. That's my uncle's nickname because it's like a what do you call it? Cinder block, whatever. Like how it's a beautiful house. It's about a mile from the beach, so it's walkable. But yeah, that's just what they call it, just because it's how it was built. But it is a beautiful house, and it's close enough to the boardwalk and the beach where we can walk, but far enough to where we don't deal with the late night riffraff. So Jerome, Carrie's here. What's going on? We got Brenda from Kentucky is here.
Yay.
Peachy, long time no see. I was hanging with Peachy, and Greg did his first solo live just before the stream. So me, Peachy, and JP were actually over in his chat supporting him. He did really good for his first live. Paulette, greetings from rainy North Carolina. Jerome, Nicole always gets too mad when she talks to me. Jerome, you're in timeout.
That's pretty good.
Johnny, howdy, Chuck.
Yes,
good to see you.
John, by the way, is going to make me a laser engraved mug with my hat. and breaking thin, and also maybe one on a piece of barnwood. I'm hoping. So he sent me a pretty awesome picture the other night.
Oh, do you guys live local?
No, actually, this is kind of crazy. He watched one of my videos. He watched several of them and posted about some of the similarities. So it was really almost like me and Chad, only Chad even more so. So John is 59, and so am I. We've both been married 30 years. We both live in the middle of nowhere. I live in Missouri. He lives in Kentucky, or I'm sorry, in Colorado. But also I had caught, which you may not have seen it, but in his name, there's some numbers and letters. And I recognized that that's a ham radio call sign. And so I also have a ham radio license. And so I just began to send him emails. I talked to him on the phone the other night. It is just crazy how much. Yeah, Whiskey November 0, November Foxtrot.
Well, what's that? Whiskey Juliet, Oscar.
Yes, Whiskey.
Foxtrot?
Well, it's a 0. Whiskey Juliet 0, November Foxtrot.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so I have. Will I point to it? There. Alpha Echo 0 Foxtrot Charlie. So he has a ham radio license. So do I. It was just a ton of stuff. It was really
That's cool.
Really odd. Cool. Kind of like me and Chad. We have a lot in common as well.
Yeah.
So what is the difference between a ham radio and just like a CB radio?
So to get a ham radio license, you actually have to test. There's 3 levels of testing, and you have to actually have a license to broadcast. So where ham radio is just citizen band.
Like radio and like transport.
Yeah, like I can't show you because I can't walk into the other room. But yeah, like I have a radio in my truck, but also I have 2 in the other room. So, and radios that are the frequencies for those are like I've talked to Australia, for example, Japan.
Cool.
You can talk to places all over the world. So
damn,
they're just a different frequency band than like normal CB, which is pretty local mostly, unless there's some skip, where there's a huge range of frequencies that I can broadcast on. But although those are restricted by the FCC, that you have to have a license. So every 10 minutes, you got to say your call sign.
Well, before we continue with the chat, I do want to shout myself and Chuck out because we both recently, close together, reached the 1K sub milestone. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes, which was pretty incredible because I'm not sure about you, Nicole, but when I first put up my first video, I really had no idea if anybody would watch.
Oh, can you go back to my very first couple of videos? They were so bad.
I think that every video.
Yeah.
And so I would make my wife watch, and my 2 youngest daughters would watch, and I thought, I'm going to get. I remember getting to 10 subscribers that were not people I knew personally, and I was thinking, man, that's incredible. And then 25. But
I
yeah,
remember
so
I was
1,000.
watching a stream with you and your daughter. You made your daughter be a show up in the chat. That's funny.
Yes, one of my daughters is going to be on tonight, maybe.
Oh.
Not on the live stream. Sorry, just in chat.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get my wife to come on, but currently she's refused. So.
Oh, my husband wants nothing to do with it. He's in his room. He'll make every attempt to walk around the hall and the other side so he doesn't walk in front of the camera.
When I just looked up there, it's like my wife was coming down the stairs. Side trick. She'll never get in.
To get in? No, she's not getting in.
My daughter put her rat in here. She has a pet rat that's getting really old. She put her pet rat in here the other day on one, though, for the people to see.
Well, we got Lambs in the chat. Lambs is representing. Craig Coons, hi from Vegas. We spend Christmas. We meet my folks there. My family's from New Jersey. We're from New Jersey, but we do Christmas in Vegas now every other year because my mom's a nurse. So every other year she gets Christmas off. So we actually spend Christmas in Vegas. And I must say it's off season. It is glorious because there's hardly anyone there. It's easy to walk and get around and the weather's perfect. I love Vegas. Visiting.
Yeah.
Mike,
I've never been, but I have family there.
You've never been to Vegas?
No, but my cousin's there, and my uncle was a chef there at one of the casinos, and he was a really good chef, actually. Bill Cosby used to request him, but throwing Bill Cosby's name out there these days isn't quite the same as it used to be.
It have the same ring to it.
Yeah, now you just cross that off your resume.
Just like Johnny F. A bunch of letters and numbers. 1 pound is about where I am.
Johnny call sign.
Once in a while, I like
call
that.
Not call sign, actually, letters. Yeah.
Once
we used to do a lot of marine band radio in the islands, because obviously on the boats.
Yeah,
that was our thing.
So Johnny says he's mostly OMAD, but will stack on some bacon if it is still a couple hours till dinner. Nice. Yeah, I found cooking in ghee. I need to try tallow. I couldn't find it, but I found ghee. That's how I ended up with ghee. But I'm finding ghee is definitely helping get my fat up. Every once in a while, I'll throw an avocado in there, but the ghee is really helping. I just started using that this week, and that is definitely making a difference for me. If anyone's struggling with getting your fat in, because I was, that, and I'm sure tallow come in clutch.
Do you have an air fryer, Nicole?
I don't, but I'm so happy you mentioned air fryer, because we picked up our Ninja Creamy today. So when we get back from the Jersey Shore, we're making protein ice cream. That is better than an air fryer, in my opinion. We had to choose. I chose ice cream.
We do make keto ice cream. We have an ice cream machine as well.
Oh, you do? Do you have the creamy?
No. I actually have I have a Cuisinart. And so it's just a regular ice cream, which you can make some other stuff in it, like sherbet or whatever. But we do whole heavy whipping cream, raw egg, and
Dr. Kilt's recipe?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Only we don't use sugar. I do use a little bit of stevia, but no, we don't go real sugar.
Yeah, I might do a little bit of honey. I think we still have honey left from last year.
And
yeah,
on occasion I put some blueberries on it or in it. But on it is good. But the air fryer, I only asked because we have an air fryer. If I do ribeye, or even if I do hamburger is pretty messy, so I don't really like to do it. But on the grill, there's a drip pan, and literally what you have is just clean beef tallow when you're all done.
Oh, nice!
Right off the end, so it's already rendered out. You can throw it in, fry your eggs in it, or you can do the same thing with bacon grease.
Air fryer is next on our list, but we just had to choose.
Just clean grease when you're all done air frying.
We're gonna get the air fryer that's both the grill and the fryer.
Have I lost you?
I don't know. Can you guys hear me?
I can hear you. I can hear Chuck. Maybe he might not be able to hear us though.
So let's continue welcoming. We do have a question, Peachy. I do see you. I see the question. But let's finish welcoming people in the chat. We got Bypass Carnivore. How's it going? That is an awesome name. And how long have you been
Chuck, I just texted you.
He can't hear you.
No, I know. That's what I was going to say.
I'm swallowing sirloin. Was on sale. Nice. What's up, Andy? Good to see you here.
One thing on the ice cream thing, the only thing I used to do, because I don't trust myself with like a tub of ice cream, or I probably can now, but like when I started, my first year. So I got those little candy molds of like 1 tablespoon out of silicone, and would just put cream in those and freeze them, and it kind of kept me so I know I could just pop out 3 and eat them after. That was what I did.
Yeah.
Because I definitely had that, just 1 more spoon. Oh, just 1 more spoon.
I don't know if you guys can hear me.
I can hear you.
I lost audio. Okay. I can't hear any of you.
I have food freedom now, so I can pretty much eat whatever I want. And
I'm going to pop out, pop back.
Oh, okay. But I no longer have binge eating tendencies or any of that stuff anymore. So we'll see what happens when I have the ice cream. But so far, I've been good with whatever I try. Wellman, hello from Florida. Survived the hurricane. Oh man, I heard about that. I'm so glad. Were you guys hit at all, or did you guys just miss it? Lioness Hiker, good to see you. Good to see you. I'm a recent sub to her channel. She puts out some good content. All right, so let's get to some questions. We got, I sub to Nurse Kim, former fat girl and minimalist carnivore. Thank you so much. We appreciate you. Absolutely. Another Floridian. Less junk, more health. Huzzah. Oh, we've gone cross country. We've gone overseas. John
Nice.
Mills from Ireland. How's it going? First time seeing Kim and Nicole. Glad you're all here. Helps work go by. Oh, I'm sorry you're still at work. Oh, I guess it's only 6:20, but if depending on where you are. So we did have a question. How did you like the ghee? What does it taste like? Kim or Chad? Let's start with Kim. Do you use ghee at all? What do you,
Yeah, it just tastes like butter to me.
Chad? What about you?
Yeah, pretty close to butter. Not quite as the stuff I get wasn't quite as sweet. Some like Costco Lone Star brand, but I don't use it much anymore because I kind of quit butter for a while for testing. But I
Gotcha.
like ghee because the smoke point, as most people know, is so high. You don't get those solids
Yeah,
burning
because I
off.
can smoke up a house like that every time.
Yeah,
I think there's more fat in ghee too, so I definitely notice a difference cooking in butter and cooking in ghee. I notice a difference in my satiety with switching to ghee.
here's one for butter. Do you guys ever do like whipped brown butter or anything? Like you can brown butter in a pan and get it all brown. Put it in like some kind of container, or whatever, and then put it back in the fridge and whip it so it's like 3 or 4 times the volume and it's all soft and fluffy. Then you can that's awesome on
Yeah.
steaks and stuff.
No, I'll have to
Because
try
the
that.
brown butter flavor is just this really good, yummy golden. And I used to put those in those molds, and then I could just pop 1 or 2 on a steak and let it melt into the steak.
Yeah, I haven't tried that. I'm not sure who this, because both Chuck and I mentioned blueberries, so I guess we can both answer this one. PH33R fan, is blueberries your cheat food? So I guess I'll answer first, and then I'll kick it over to Chuck, unless I don't think Chad and Kim eat blueberries, but if you guys do. But for me,
Occasionally I do.
yeah, for me, it is actually a part of my
Not me.
daily diet or mostly daily diet. I do eat minimal carbs. I do eat berries, mostly blueberries, occasional strawberries. I do eat avocado. And recently I added in cashews. They don't seem to bother me if I eat one serving. I know they're technically legumes, but I'm just going to say nuts. But other nuts like peanuts and those sorts of things do upset my stomach, but I'm finding that cashews so far are fine. But those are my minimal carbs that I eat on a mostly daily basis, with my one meal if I do two mad, or obviously if I do OMAD, then I will incorporate one of those carb sources into my meal. So today it just happened to be blueberries. What about you, Chuck?
Yeah, so I do blueberries fairly infrequently, I guess. Again, I would say probably 8 out of 10 days, I would be doing no fruits or vegetables at all, no nuts, just meat, dairy, and eggs. Now, again, so on those other couple days, yeah, I will do blueberries on occasion. I don't really consider that a cheat. I mean, my cheat is cheesecake, right? So I've had one cheat day, which is still not a cheat day for me because it was a holiday. I've had one day this year when I've had something that would have been outside of, normal whole food keto, like
Yeah.
blueberries, something like that. So it's pretty infrequently, but on occasion I will have something. But blueberries, yeah, maybe once every couple weeks or something like that. Not a lot, but I do like them.
Yeah. What about you, Kim?
Yeah, I'll have them here and there if I want them. I mean, a handful, I probably do this for different reasons than most people. So my main thing is just to keep my sugar as low as I can. And then I like to kind of test it out with a few berries here and there.
Yeah.
And probably the first 3 months that I was on it, that handful of berries would really send me over the edge. And I tried some probably about a week or two ago, and they didn't seem to do that. So I'm thinking maybe I'm getting better, with
Sweet. That's
my
awesome.
chronic candida.
Yeah.
Here we go again.
I
I
never liked fruit.
You,
The only thing I ever liked was pineapple and these Hawaiian apple bananas, and you can't get them on the mainland. and then strawberry guavas, which we used to pick naturally when we're hunting. So I think it's just like I never liked anything, but so I just don't. I mean, my cheat might be bacon once every 2 or 3 months, a couple pieces.
Did you just say bacon is your cheat?
Bacon is my cheat. Yeah, that's.
Really?
That's part of a carnivore diet.
I know, but that's what I'm saying. If I'm going to cheat, because technically there is some other stuff in there, but I don't know. Just over the years, I've just gotten more simple, and I just don't really care. It's not like I think it's wrong. Obviously, I think, Nicole, you guys kind of know that. Like, I'm for people if they want to do it. There was actually a comment today with somebody, they were saying they ate some mango and got sick, and they were doing carnivore and they were worried. And I kind of just said, hey, mango's got like more sugar than a can of Coke. Pineapple's got more sugar than a can of Coke. You got to be careful about.
Say that. I tried.
Yeah, and that's why those blueberries, strawberries, there's such low sugar. What are strawberries, like 7 grams a serving? Blueberries, I think, are like 5, no, 7, 9.
Blueberries, strawberries, and raspberries
are good. So those, I think, are one of those things. If people want to do it, just pick your fruit.
Yeah.
If you're going to have.
Pick your poison.
Well, mangoes are also vicious. Like mango rash is a real thing. In the island, we used to always laugh when we'd see tourists with mango rash all over their face. And we'd be like, oh, you got into a mango tree. And they're like, how'd you know?
Pineapple does that to me.
Yeah, pineapple.
My neck just breaks
and
out.
Even kids, if they get mango all over their face, can get really red and torn apart on their face. But even the sap from the tree will just tear you up. So some of those fruits, it's like when you eat too many bananas, or too much pineapple or anything out, rips your mouth inside, kind of makes it raw.
So Lioness Hiker, please remind me of your name, Lioness Hiker. I apologize. So I could be respectful, but Chuck, what is your channel name? If you can actually put, Chuck, you can change your name on
yeah, I'm going to do that.
Yeah, but it's at Breaking Thin. So if you just put at Breaking Thin, you should be able to find his channel there. But he'll change his name here on StreamYard. I don't think any of the mods are in the chat to put your link in there.
I'll say one thing, if you on that Wellman,
I know,
the cheesecake grate. Okay, when you hit that, yeah.
The other thing about fruit is depending on what fruit it is, it's not just the sugar. If you consume large amounts of it, it's the fructose, which is not metabolized like sugar.
No,
right?
It goes to the liver.
It's metabolized only in the liver. It has to be done not exclusively first, but it's much like alcohol. And so, you can get fatty liver by drinking lots of alcohol or by consuming incredible large amounts of just fruit juice.
Yeah.
Right. Or Coca-Cola, because it's full of fructose.
Yep.
There's also some glucose in some fruits.
Yeah. There's other sugars in fruits too, but the fructose is the part that's, but berries and stuff like that.
Yeah, there's a fructose and glucose component of fruit. It's just the glucose component's processed differently than the glucose component. And so Craig, before we get to that question, I'm just trying to go in order here. Fasting ketovore too mad. Doc warned about cholesterol being too high. Okay, before we go around the room on this cholesterol topic, I will say, Dr. Ken Berry has a video on this. Paul Saladino has actually recently he had a friendly debate conversation with a cardiac surgeon / doctor, which is really, really good, explaining insulin resistance and other factors of the bad cholesterol. He used the analogy that when a fire started, because the firemen are showing up to put out the fire doesn't mean the firemen are what caused the fire. So you have to have a spark. So Paul Saladino's stance was LDL is not the spark. It's an innocent bystander that's getting caught up in all of this noise, kind of like the firefighters are being caught up in fighting the fire. That there's a external spark, and LDL is just the LDL particles are just getting wrapped up to it. So that was a very interesting video that he did that I think goes into a lot of detail on it. And then Ken Berry did a video with another surgeon that kind of broke it down as well. So those are two good channels to check out on cholesterol. But Chuck, what do you say about cholesterol, and are you concerned about cholesterol?
Yeah. So I say that if all your metabolic markers are good, LDL cholesterol is completely and totally irrelevant. I think I'm not sure if I'm going to get the name right because I'm not sure if it's Paul, but one of the interviews on Dr. Berry's channel was with Diamond. His last name is Diamond, he's actually a scientist, talked about it. I interviewed Professor Barkay also and asked him specifically about LDL. And he really echoed, Nicole, exactly what you were saying. The issue is that LDL cholesterol on its own, it never causes plaque in the arteries. It cannot. The only way that LDL actually gets stuck is when there's internal damage to the walls of the artery. And due to high blood pressure and chronic inflammation, chronic glucose levels, the interior walls become inflamed and damaged. And when that happens, LDL cholesterol can get lodged there. And really as part of the healing process, really, but then plaque forms. And outside of that it doesn't happen. And if you're healthy, LDL cholesterol being higher actually leads to longer life, not shorter. So, and there's a number of studies that show that. It's particularly in women. So my wife's LDL cholesterol is 270, right? She doesn't even care. By the way, excuse me, not everyone's goes up. My LDL cholesterol right now, my total cholesterol is 171 and my LDL is 116. So, but in some people it does, but it doesn't matter. No one who knows thinks it matters.
So what about you, Nurse Kim?
Cholesterol. Oh, I hate that subject. So I am the one who puts allergic to all statins on my chart at the hospital or the doctor's office.
That's great.
So I'm probably not one to ask if you care about cholesterol.
That is awesome.
I just say, out of here.
Oh man.
I have listened to a lot of people who know way more than me about this subject to inform myself enough to come to that conclusion. David Diamond is
David.
Dr. Berry.
That was his name. Yes.
Yeah. Dr. Berry, Dr. Berry's my go-to for everything. David Diamond. There are others. Just think of all the people who are like the gods in the keto community, and a lot of them have videos on this sort of thing. So, I don't tell my patients that because I would probably get in trouble, but it doesn't concern me, and I'm not taking your stupid statins, so I feel great. The times I did take statins, I thought I was going to die.
Yeah.
Like it felt like poison in my system. It was awful.
But it is important
without hurting.
It is important to note, though, it is if you are healthy in all other ways. LDL doesn't matter. I don't think statins are good under any condition. But if you have your cholesterol is 300 and you're constantly inflamed and you have, you have metabolic syndrome, it's probably pretty bad for you.
Yeah,
you need to get that sorted out.
I think most of us have metabolic syndrome that are,
we do,
pre-diabetic, obese.
Get that sorted out. LDL is irrelevant.
Yeah, there's like small LDL and like the big fluffy or the big
fluffy particles and then
LDL, and that's the one that causes the issues is the broken LDL.
Yes.
What says you, Chad?
Research. Who has more heart attacks, high cholesterol, low cholesterol people? And that should tell you all you need to know. I looked this up. The other guy that I like is that Stay Off My Operating Table, Philip Ovadia or Avadia. That dude, just listen to a heart surgeon and see what he says. He's got a book out there, Stay Off My Operating Table. He's got a lot of interviews. When you listen to those people, besides our big three, Baker, Chafee, Berry, that guy's awesome about that. And that's directly related to why people want to do that is for the supposed heart attacks that lower cholesterol people have more of. So That's my
Well, and then if you look at what causes, well, if you look at the like top 10 concerns for causing heart disease, it's like so far down on the list that if you haven't taken care of like those first, what, 7 or so before it, you know, I mean, come on, like it's minuscule compared to, you know.
It's
what do
hard
our
to say
brains need? What are they composed of? What's in it? You know, why would you want to starve it of its main component, I guess? Is that, you know what I'm trying to say, Kim, I think, or Nicole, you know what I mean? The main goo of the brain.
I think it's hard because the American Heart Association controls everything, which I think is a problem in of itself. But they put LDL and cholesterol like way up the top of their list. Like this causes this increases your risk for this. Eat lean and green, decrease your fat. That's plastered everywhere. So it's really hard to get around that and to not convince people, but to show people that in if you're otherwise get all your other markers like your A1C, your fasting glucose, all those other markers good, your weight under control and all that, that you really don't have to worry about LDL cholesterol. But I get a lot of clients who once I up their fat intake and meat and all that stuff, they literally freak the heck out. And it's like it's very hard to because I'm just Nicole. I'm not the American Heart Association, the American Diabetes Association. I'm not
Same.
WHO, the World Health Organization, and all that. You know what I mean? NIH. Like it's very hard to compete against these big governmental organizations.
I was just going to say, who pushes their buttons and who helps influence them and where the studies come from too. That's the other thing.
100%, but people don't do that research the vast majority of the time.
Yeah.
They go to these organizations because they're supposed to be trusted. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So Wellman, I think this is the comment that is this a comment you wanted, Chad?
No, there was another one, but I'll see it when it comes up. It's no biggie.
Okay. Anyone see 50 Plus Beauty discuss her recent stroke and her thoughts that it was caused by a high fat carnivore diet? Interesting to me. I've been keto since back in the Atkins day. I have not, but I'm gonna pull that channel up and that might be my next reaction video.
So I haven't seen that, but I would ask a similar question to Dr. Berry. If he heard this question, he would say, do you think that your stroke was caused by something that you've done in the last, months, even year? Probably not. It's probably caused by something that you've done for, 50 years before that.
The other thing that does happen, which is, and this happens a lot prior to becoming keto or carnivore, most people never give any thought in the world to how what they eat impacts how they feel. And once we come into keto or carnivore, we do the exact opposite. So then we think everything that we eat impacts the way that we feel. Sometimes we just get sick, right? Like keto and carnivore doesn't make you bulletproof. You're not going to live forever, unfortunately. So sometimes, it is what it is. I bet if she was just eating the standard American diet 4 or 5 years ago, she would have never blamed her stroke on her diet. She would have just said, oh, bad genetics or whatever. But then you change the way that you eat and immediately you say, oh, it must have been the diet. Which, again, why exactly? I mean, what is it about protein and fat that would have made you have a stroke?
I mean, I did, so I've been doing a lot of digging on type 3 diabetes. I know it's not an official diagnosis, but more and more scientists and doctors are starting to use that designation. So I've been doing a lot of digging on that, and I do plan to do a video on this. That's why I'm doing a lot of research on it. But I do read a lot of places where saturated fat is to blame for stroke and Alzheimer's and all these cognitive issues. And I am reading that excess glucose can damage brain cells, essentially suffocate the brain to where it can't release oxygenated blood and all this stuff. So like it's a lot of, when you're doing research, it's a lot of conflicting information. So it's very, very, very difficult to kind of weed through the nonsense. So I understand why this person. I am going to do a reaction video on her, though. I did bookmark it, so I am going to do that video. But I can see why this person might blame the carnivore diet, because there is a lot of stuff out there on the interwebs that blame saturated fat for all
everything.
issues, for everything. Yeah. So like I can see logically why this person would blame the carnivore diet for that. Like I don't fault this person or think they're out of their mind for thinking that, because there are a lot of studies and articles out there claiming that saturated fat increases your risk for all these things, to include cognitive issues, stroke, dementia, Alzheimer's, all these things. It's unfortunate.
But there's also just a ton. In fact, if you're going to do like type 3 diabetes, I had Beckman. I think Beckman or Binkman.
Binkman.
He has a great, because now, there's all that stuff about saturated fat, red meat, all of that causes inflammation. But there is more and more recent research that's probably much more legitimate, I would think, that actually links a huge amount of cognitive degenerative disorders, all directly to chronically high levels of glucose, insulin, and inflammation, which is why they call it type 3 diabetes, right?
Right.
Because it's actually caused by the glucose levels that, when they're high, is really hard on the body. So
right. So let's go through some of these comments. So Nicole kept falling off and on for a while, started my own channel and have stayed strict so far, day 9. Don't want to fail in front of the whole world. Good going. Drop is it Bypass Carnivore, your channel name? Everyone go check out Bypass Carnivore and support his channel.
And congratulations.
Yeah.
I did not have the courage to start my channel until I had lost most of the weight I wanted to lose.
Same here. Angelina, hi from Australia, Tasmania, carnivore 80 days and feeling great. Congratulations. That's awesome. B-Dog says, I love my Ninja Creamy. I make ice cream all the time. That is the first thing we're doing when we get home. Bubba, how are you doing, Kim?
Hi, Bob. I'm great. How are you? That's my carnivore brother, y'all. Go follow Bob.
Chad, is this it?
Yeah.
Okay, I agree. Cheesecake is a great cheat, but can be carnivore if you make it with gelatin. Keto Chow just sent out a recipe with cottage cheese, eggs, and package of Keto Chow. I haven't tried it, but may. What you got, Chad?
My only thought, and this is kind of what I did early on, I think sometimes some of this stuff, like, if a cheat, you guys might know there's, you can like make pancakes with like, what is it? 1 part egg, 1 part cream cheese, right? And then like make them like a crepe, and then take, say, some whipped cream and some cream cheese and whip up something like that and make it, and just avoid the cheesecake. Don't add sweeteners, don't add anything. You still get that cheesy flavor, the whipped cream, and you could totally bypass that. And it's a carnivore snack, so it's still in carnivore. So at least if you fall, you're just kind of falling in a kind of, you know what I mean? You're falling in your own house, if you will.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I think on stuff like that. That's just how I look at it, though. And I'm kind of, pretty narrow edge thinking when it comes to going outside.
What do you say?
I don't call that cheesecake.
No, I know. That's what I'm saying, though. But that's, but it might, for some people, it might satisfy that thing. Because if they go out, they might not come back that easy. I guess maybe to preface, like, if you've got a problem, do that instead of the other. Like, if you can handle a piece of cheesecake on your anniversary and it's not going to be an issue, and you can wait till maybe Christmas to have something, nutmeg logs or whatever you might like, then it's okay. But if you do know you have that eating problem and disorder, don't go outside, stay inside and make something that's a substitute. Otherwise.
Yeah. That's what Chad's describing as food freedom. And this is what I started talking about a lot. Pim, Barkay's better half. Sorry, Bart. She talks about food freedom a lot, and I love it. So like I've gotten people who say something to me because I eat blueberries, most of the days of the week. But I might have a slice or two of pizza when we're at the boardwalk because I plan and I allow myself to cheat every once in a blue moon for occasion. I'm not sure if I'm going to have pizza or not, but my point is I can do that. It took me years to get to where I don't have binge eating tendencies. I no longer have the sugar addiction. I used to eat, a pint of Ben & Jerry's ice cream and then want to keep eating. Like I had no off switch. And it took me years to overcome that. So the fact I can have a slice or two of pizza and not have those urges and stop and go right back to eating meat only the next day, for me, I'm proud of that. So if I decide I want to have a pizza on the boardwalk when we're out with my family, for me, that's food freedom. And that should be everyone's goal. And if you are struggling and you do have an addiction and you can't and you're not there yet, I've been there. Trust me, I know it's a long road. But I think that's what Chad's kind of getting at. If you can kind of like Chuck had, cheesecake, a regular cheesecake, and then he went right back to plan. For me, that's what we should all strive for, is that food freedom. I can do those things. I choose not to do those things, but the fact I can and then have it not affect me anymore, like that for me is what I'm most proud of, doing this carnivore
I'll
journey.
say one thing when you're done.
Yeah.
It's also, what's your goal?
Yeah.
What's your goal with this way of eating, and what's your lifestyle, and what makes you happy? I used to be a big roadie, used to own a bicycle shop, used to ride about 400 miles a week, kind of bicycle guy. When my buddies and I would go out riding, we would hit it hard. Like we're talking 30 to 80 miles race pace, because we also raced bicycles, and it was intense. A lot of people just want to get on a bike and go to the park and sit and watch the birds, or, maybe ride 10 miles and they're pretty stoked on that. So that's also a huge thing. If I do something, I tend to do it to the extremes, and that's why I'm probably, lying with a little bit of cheese.
Yeah.
So what is your goal?
Yeah, I used to be that way. But yeah, my story was saying I'm not that way anymore, because I did have that problem, but I had a different problem though. I did have, the addiction, if you want to call it that, and I did have binge eating tendencies. I don't think I had binge eating like full blown, but I did have tendencies to where I didn't have that off switch. I couldn't stop myself.
I actually, so Nicole, I do similar to what you do. So even when I have my cheesecake, and I did an old video about this, I don't cheat. Right.
Yeah.
I mean, people will ask me, do you cheat? I do not cheat. I've not cheated on anything I've eaten for probably 18 months. Now, have I eaten non-carnivore food? Absolutely. But I don't, because here's what I mean by that. For me, it's so important to know the kind of person that you are. And it took me a while to figure this out.
Yeah.
I don't like to be constrained, right? Like, I don't like to feel captive. And so I made a simple, but I do need some guardrails. I'm pretty crappy at moderation, but I'm pretty good at abstinence, right? So I can abstain, I can't moderate. So I just came up with the rule. On holidays, there is no rule. I cannot cheat on holiday because there's no rules on holidays. I eat whatever I want as much as I want. Now, here's the thing about that. Because I've given myself that liberty, like I said, this whole year, what are we, the end of August, I've eaten one piece of cheesecake. That's it. No other off carnivore or off keto kind of food, but I can if I want to. And it's just the liberty to do it, which actually, it really helps me stay on track. And when I did that cheesecake, I knew 6 weeks in advance. My son-in-law, who's a captain in the Army, was taking me and his dad out to fight. And I said, I'm going to have a glass of Cabernet with my ribeye, and I'm going to eat a piece of cheesecake. And I planned that weeks in advance. I did it. And I felt like crap later on that night, by the way. I felt absolutely miserable. Felt off for 2 days. But You know what? If I want to have pizza, I just understand, what holiday am I going to have it? That's the only time. And in between those times, I don't do it. And but again, that's me. That doesn't work for everyone, right? But ideally, what you want is not to be a slave to food.
Correct.
Right? That's it. I'm not consumed by food. You got to find your place, Go ahead, Chad.
Thank you.
I do have 2 bites of my kid's birthday cake. So two kids, 2 bites per year. And that's just to celebrate their birthday flat out.
Okay.
That's an important thing. My 14 and 19-year-olds.
What do you got, Kim?
Yeah, we cut you off, Kim.
Oh,
Sorry.
no, no worries. Sorry, I have a cough drop that I've been trying to.
I was wondering.
I'm directing guests on not my show.
Or I got coughed. I got choked on my little Starbucks cup full of water here.
The cute cup.
So I've been coughing. Yeah, so I think once again, it depends on why you're doing this. As far as whether or not you can cheat and how much. For me, I cannot eat anything with sugar in it. If I do, I will be paying for it for a long time. I'll feel absolutely horrible. And my candida symptoms, which is a cough, ironically, not this cough, but a worse one, will come back with a vengeance. And it'll turn into bronchitis. And it has turned into pneumonia 3 times. And it's just inflammation, you know. So, yeah, but I have an immune system that's just wackadoo. So, you know,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure if I didn't have that, I would be much more inclined to be like, oh yeah, I'll have a piece of cheesecake. And then, but my body punishes me so severely that, I mean, a cheat for me would be mashed potatoes, honestly.
I mean, mashed potatoes are good depending on how you prepare them. So Lioness Hiker, one study found that the clots causing fatal heart attacks and strokes originate from infected teeth. That's interesting. I don't know any studies about that, but I will say most people don't think about their oral health. So when I give nutrition talks and workshops to senior communities, professionals like nurses and directors and food service staff, I do talk about oral health. Because the aging population in this country do have poor dental health. And that does, once you have poor dental health, that's all connected, it affects every single part of your body and your health. So this actually doesn't shock me. It's just not something that you hear about is oral
And
health.
it's definitely not just one study. It's a very well-known fact that your teeth, the bacteria in your teeth can easily get to your heart like that. Cause vegetation on your valves, and you can be in some serious trouble.
And you know what most carnivores discover? That their gums get radically better. Like I had terrible gums my entire life. I went to get my teeth cleaned every 3 to 4 months. And now my gums, I could probably not go for 2 years. So that makes a difference. By the way, my daughter posted, it was her that set up Father's Day. So
oh yeah, I'll get there. I started a bunch of
no, it's okay. I seen no chats coming because I was still on private chat.
I'm
anything.
trying to go in order so I don't miss things.
Yeah, so no problem.
Wellman, her video on her stroke and recovery is going viral. Interesting. I'll have to check that one out. All right, let me see if I missed anything.
On her, I looked up her site right a second ago. Now I know I don't really ever pay attention to her. All I can say is prayers for her, man, because that's got to be rough.
Who?
Yeah.
That gal who had the stroke.
Oh,
that's got to be rough. You know, it's sad. It's, you know, strokes are a horrible thing. The one guy who's big on Tofi from Canada, who's like the gray guy, about 55, who always has all the body scans. You know, he's on like different doctors, if you've ever seen him. I can't remember his name, but he's in Canada and he talks about the thin outside, fat inside people and all this stuff. Like he said, he goes, the worst thing I would ever want is a stroke because that just messes you up beyond so many things. So that's a tough one. But
what's up, Sean? Better late than never, dude. Thanks for being here. Let's welcome some new people in the chat. What's up, Rick?
Hey, Rick.
What's up,
Rick?
Robin? How's it going? Scuffed Andy. Contradictory information is what puts off a lot of people when they are trying to learn what is healthy. Absolutely, 100%. I agree. It's so hard. It's so hard to know what to believe and what not to believe. You have, you know, all these professionals talking about all like opposing opinions. It's difficult for sure. What's up, Lucia? How's it going?
Hey, Sean. Are you talking about Sean O'Mara?
Yes. Yes. Thank you.
I've
He's
been watching some
awesome.
of his videos lately.
He's a good guy to watch. People should look him up. He's really.
Yeah, he does a
There's
lot of
also that dentist. Do you guys remember that dentist? Younger guy, darker hair,
Oh,
probably 35, but he's kind of bodybuilder guy. If
yeah.
anybody in the chat remembers that guy,
He was that
another
keto.
great carnivore guy to watch because man, his dentistry stuff is what he's into, and he goes into it so much how it
Same with
affects us.
carnivore doctor. No, she's an eye doctor.
Eye doctor, carnivore doctors. And I mean, we've got these other great people out there who are specialists in these areas that bring up so much stuff.
Yeah. The people
You
Carrie
know,
interviewed, the blind people, one of them did have diabetic eye. They lost their eyesight because of diabetes.
Mhm.
Carnivore by the Shore, thanks for popping in. If there are any questions, drop them in the chat. I'm going through now to make sure I didn't miss anything. Chuck, what's your daughter's name?
Fairlight. It was at 5:35.
This one.
mhm.
Yeah, there you go.
Wait, hold up here. That was me who put that together. Thank you very much.
Yeah. And she likes the color of your cup, Kim.
I saw that. I told her thank you in the comments.
Craig says I'm still an addict. I have to abstain or I binge. Yeah, I mean
I did the same thing for a long time.
Yeah, you gotta meet yourself where you are.
Yeah.
All days out, even resets. I
You
don't.
know what really stinks is having to fix food for your kids that you used to love and want so very bad. I mean, just Kraft macaroni and cheese, like that used to be a huge trigger for me. And now I'm just like, it doesn't even look like food to me anymore, you know?
Yeah.
Because my brain I just have to shut it down, you know?
Yeah, I've been very fortunate. I've been very
dentist.
fortunate in that regard. I'm sorry, Nicole.
Oh no, I was gonna say, Chad. Someone, Rick put Dr. Kevin Stock as a dentist. You were
Yeah,
talking
that's
That's
who I
it.
thought
That's
he
the
was
guy.
talking
That's
about.
another one. Everybody in the chat, man,
can't remember
look that guy up. That
Yeah,
dude
sorry,
is
go ahead,
awesome.
Chuck.
I was going to say I've been very fortunate. My wife did keto and carnivore with me. She does all that stuff. All our children are all grown, and so our youngest Fairlight happens to be 26. So they're all married. So we don't have anyone at home. My wife did keto and carnivore with me. So I was really fortunate in that regard. I didn't have to deal with any of that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Well, speaking of that, that's so Chuck. Is your family, or is it just you and your wife at home? I assume.
Yes.
Is your
yes.
wife doing this with you?
Yes. So, which again, that was really awesome. My wife was, my heaviest. I was somewhere north of 265. I might have been 275. I don't know exactly. But my wife has always been very slender. She weighed 99 pounds when we got married. She was, I was up to 275. My wife was up to 135. Right. So that was her max weight. But yeah, she did keto and carnivore with me and still does now. Now she still likes vegetables. So she will eat a few more vegetables than I will. But generally, she's predominantly carnivore as well. So, and she's lost 20 pounds. Now she's actually visiting one of my daughters. She may have gained a few of those pounds back while she's away from home, but I don't know. But yeah, she lost about 20 pounds, probably down to like 114, 115.
Nice. What about you, Chad? Your family doing it with you? No.
All alone.
All alone.
My boy eats a lot of meat, but he still eats like pizza because he's 14, and stuff. And I don't push it, but I might challenge him though a little bit here in a while just to do it for 3 months to see how it does.
What about you, Kim?
No, nobody does it but me. I don't really harp on them too much. I just, I raised them that way. So I can't really say, oh, okay, everybody's eating strict keto or strict carnivore now. I wish that my husband would join me, but
Yeah.
he doesn't want to be hounded about it. So, but I think it would really benefit him a lot for a number of reasons. A lot of the same reasons that it benefited me. But I mean, he's skinny and he doesn't really have a lot of that type of motivation. I find that a lot of times weight is a big motivation for most people in the beginning anyway. I got an alarm going off.
My our youngest two daughters and both of their husbands, and they've actually become much more conscious of what they eat. So they eat less bad stuff, and they do tend to eat more meat. So they're a lot more aware of that, vegetable seed oil, and because of course they've seen me, right, and so it just makes a huge difference. So if they cut out half the stuff, is what I always tell them, right? What you feed the kids, if you feed them half of what you're giving them is good food, well, they're vastly better off than the rest of the country, right?
Yeah.
And
My
the more the better.
My husband's not doing it either. He cut back his carbs. Like he'll eat like half the bun or half of the fries instead of the whole portion. So he's cut back and made changes like that. My mom is actually going through my low carb program. She's going more and more towards Atkins type, so like low carb type keto. My dad is type 2 diabetes and he wants nothing to do with. He's fine, dude. Ask him. And so yeah, and my uncle, we're going to the Jersey Shore with this weekend. He had gastric bypass, so he eats multiple times a day, small meals. And my aunt is just the standard American diet. So I have no idea what the heck I'm going to do, how I'm going to plan my meals because my family that we're going with, they're literally all over the place with how they eat. So it makes things more, I don't want to say complicated. We'll say interesting. Makes things more interesting for planning purposes. But Glam Now Beauty, hi, can you talk about hair loss? I've been low carb for 6 months and my hair has been falling out. What can I do? Okay, so I can start this off and then kick the can. So outside of we'll say malnutrition, not in a malnutrition just means you're missing essential nutrients. You're just missing nutrients. You're deficient in certain areas. So I'm not sure what your diet looks like, but if you're anemic, which a lot of women in this country are anemic, so if you're not eating enough fat, you could be deficient in iron. If you're lacking vitamins like folate or things like vitamin E, your hair could fall out. So I don't know what your diet currently looks like. If you're a higher protein, low carb dieter, or you're not eating enough fat, you're eating too much protein, the easiest recommendation I would say is to increase your fat to make sure you are getting enough of those vitamins and you are getting enough iron and you aren't deficient. So it might just be that you're not eating enough fat. But again, I don't know what your current diet looks like. Nurse Kim, what do you have to say?
So anytime your body loses a lot of weight, especially over a relatively short period of time, you are going to have some hair loss. And I have experienced that myself. At times it felt like a worrisome amount, and I was concerned about my thyroid. But my thyroid was always fine. And it usually just equalizes out after, I don't even know how long, but just after a while, it just kind of came back and was fine. So, and that's what, Dr. Berry will say also, that anytime you lose a large amount of weight, you're going to have some hair loss because your body, in the ideal situation, we wouldn't be losing weight. Back in the olden days, it would be really, really bad if you were suddenly losing tons of weight like that. So that's all I got.
Chat, sorry, my husband just decided to turn all the lights off. And I was like, why did it get dark in here? So Chad, over to you. What do you say about this?
Exactly what Kim said, basically. I don't know too much about it. I know that the thyroid can play into it. And if you've got other thyroid issues, that's something else on its own. And I know that also the body does go through those stressors. And it doesn't happen like 2 weeks after or 1 month after. It really depends on the people, as I understand.
What do you got, Chuck?
Yeah, that's my hair has always been pretty thick, and it absolutely did thin some, and it's because you drop 80 pounds in 8 months, and it just, your body just it's stressful. It's stressful for your body. It's also why you shouldn't get your blood work done within about 6 months of all that weight loss. You should really be pretty stable. But yes, everybody that I have ever heard talk about hair loss during weight loss, it's just like Kim, it comes back, right? So, it's probably worse for ladies to really drop a bunch of hair than for guys. But, usually it's not overtly noticeable to those outside, you and your hairbrush. And I really never noticed. My wife cuts my hair, so she said, your hair is starting to fall out. But yeah, once you stabilize your weight, if you have lost weight, now that's the only thing. If you haven't lost a bunch of weight, then you might definitely check out what you're eating, like Nicole had mentioned, and certainly get some blood work done, check your thyroid and stuff. But if you've lost a bunch of weight, that's probably certainly what it is.
Yeah, I think without information, I think Kim and I gave some possibilities, but yeah, without information and knowing exactly what's going on, yeah, I would just look at your diet, look at how much you weigh and how much weight you've lost in what amount of time, and it could be any number of things. But without knowing you and your lifestyle and your dietary habits, yeah, if you want to drop more information in the chat, like how much weight have you lost, how long have you been doing low carb with the amount of weight you lost, and what does your diet look like, that might help us. But if our answers so far helped you out, then that is amazing too. Lucia,
so Nicole, they said that the video is frozen. Video stopped.
Our video stopped?
That's what Rick said.
You're all live here still with me, at least.
Susie.
Huh?
Let me look at my YouTube and see. Is anybody having trouble?
I'm going to ask on my side here. Is video okay?
You're showing up on my side.
Yeah. They're saying so. Some people have said it looks fine there. So
yeah, I'm just gonna keep going. So
okay.
There are some more questions. I just going to go through the ones I've starred. Lucia, anyone know the Jack Quiche X3 bar or to work out to? No, but I think Jerome, I think he talked about this. If you're still in the chat, please do drop your channel link in the chat. Or Sean, if you're still in the chat, can you drop Jerome's link in the chat? But yeah, go check out his channel, because him and Carnivore Muscle, I believe, talk about this. I'm not familiar with that particular bar.
Chafee's mentioned it too in the past.
Yeah, I would say go check out their channels. I apologize. Dr. Gary Feckey's advice is only smell the cheesecake. This is supposed to trick your brain or something.
But that can also cause an insulin response.
It'd be like, go to smell it and just go.
I know. Okay.
I would be practically eating it if I smelled it like that.
Yeah.
Bypass carnivore question. Because eating carnivore helps with inflammation, it should help with emphysema, I think. Any thoughts? Nurse Kim?
I mean, I can't speak specifically to emphysema just because I haven't had any experience with that myself. But I would think that it would improve it some, just because the inflammation factor, it did. I had some asthma-like symptoms, but I wasn't diagnosed with asthma, and it definitely helped that. I've had little to none since I started.
Yeah, I've heard it helping with asthma. I'm not sure about emphysema or COPD or any of that stuff. Chad or Chuck, do you have any thoughts on that?
I know with my severe allergies I've mentioned. Oh, sorry. Do you want to go, Chuck?
No, go ahead.
My severe allergies, I was always on a albuterol Qvar 80. Qvar 80 is a steroidal inhalant, so I was always on the albuterol, open up the alveoli, and then get the Qvar in there constantly, and it helped. Now, emphysema is above my pay grade. Ken Berry, Chafee, those guys will, but I think also just so many other things helping might relieve that symptoms. You know what I mean? You're not, the body aches, the things you get along with all these other things would probably be the better side that I would say, yes, it could help the other outlying conditions.
And for the record, Q-bar is what caused me to go into a deep
So, you know,
spiral with my
Oh.
candida. So
you know what
just so
that's
y'all
like
know.
then, because you even have to
It's-
flush your mouth out after using it and
Oh my
everything. It's a
God. It's
vicious.
And the flushing of the mouth didn't help with me. But like I
No.
said, I'm some kind of weird anomaly. So evidently.
I probably pounded
yeah,
back
you'll always
60 of those
have-
containers.
You're always going to have emphysema or COPD, you know.
Yeah.
But I would say that your symptoms could improve with less inflammation because, you know, that's going to make symptoms worse for sure.
Susie, can you see us now? Hopefully the problem is fixed. Someone said that we were buffering for a second or two. So let us know if we're all good to go on your end, Susie. I know a lot of people said that we're fine.
Yeah,
what's
my
up?
side said it was fine here, so it might just be a couple local, whatever.
Yeah. Kayla said, "Oh man, I'm 68 damn minutes late. Sigh. Hey, you're here. You can watch the rest on replay." Thank you, Sean. This is Jerome's channel. So if anyone has any workout or exercise questions or any of that, he is a good dude to check out along with his counterpart, Carnivore Muscle.
The first hour was just a prologue. This is actually the beginning right now.
This is
Yeah, we were warming up.
This is innards. Addie's here. Oh no, watch out. Watch out. All right, we got some questions. Let's hit up some of these questions. Susie said, yes, the video seems fine now. Good. You all had us a little scared for a second. I was like, oh no, my internet seems to be working a lot better since I got this new beefed up super computer machine. Craig Kuntz, any battling bat wings? Oh, I got this question on another stream, and I think Kim, you kind of did the whole thing. Was that you that did this? What do you say about the
Are
bat
you
wings?
talking about arms? I don't know if you're talking about like hair.
bat
We were talking about hair when he typed that, so I didn't know. I mean,
Yeah, he's talking about loose skin
fasting
on your arms.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I absolutely, I have some because I'm old. Right? I'm 59. Well, I'm not actually.
You're not old.
Amazingly, I mean, I'm probably in the top 5 percentile in the country health-wise of 59-year-olds. But still, when you lose that kind of weight, it is an issue. I've actually looked into that some. I've heard, about 2 years is about what you're going to get in gain at the end of that time. It's not going to be that much. The older you are, the harder it is. And, you can get fat again, which will take care of it. It's not a very attractive option. Or you can do some workouts. Probably extended fasting is pretty good for autophagy, which helps with that. And, embrace it in the end. Whatever you have, it's better than being fat as a pig. That's my motto.
Don't shake it too much. The more you shake it, the more obvious it'll be.
You wear long sleeve shirts. The other day I said I look great in clothes, and Russ said from Homesick Buckeye, he said, "Who told you look great in clothes?" So, at least you can look good in clothes, even if you have a little loose skin.
Wait, do you remember those shaker weight things where you
The shake weight.
The shake weight. Chad, do you have anything to add outside of fasting, what Chuck said, and the shake weight?
I think time does help some. I mean, I'm going to start some health stuff, and I'll probably be stupid for a 6-year-old and show what I look like without my shirt after losing over 100 pounds, but it's not bad. Chuck, you know what I mean? We were comparing that day.
Yeah.
I'm pretty good, actually, I think, for how much I've lost, and I really don't have any issues.
And
but I'm 3+ years into it of that OMAD, and I do think that helps,
I also have some before pictures, which I'm doing a workout and some sprints right now. And that I've taken them before, and I'm going to maybe show them, depending on how the after pictures look.
Yeah.
There's a couple people who actually have the shake weight around their house. Oh man, no insanity. 16-year-old male ketovore, 1 year, 20 grams and under carbs, and only lost about 15 pounds. Only lost 15 pounds. I would get rid of that only and say lost 15 pounds. Shouldn't he have lost more? I am 61 and lost 30 same time frame. Okay.
I would
Chuck, okay, go ahead, Chad.
I would say in context of what? Did they have to lose 200 or did they have to lose 30?
Yeah.
And the fact a 16-year-old male is packing on a ton of muscle at that age and bone density as they eat, especially going ketovore, that bone density and that, muscle mass that they're probably gaining is superseding what they're losing. That's what I think.
And they're
That's
still
just,
growing, right? At
and
that
well,
age?
that's what I'm saying. At 16, you're definitely still packing on muscle. So that meat and stuff, that bone density, I think it was you, Nicole, that had that picture of the fat and the muscle. Didn't you have that? Was that you that was showing that the other day?
Oh, I don't know.
Somebody had that. But yeah, so I'm going to say, I don't know how much they had to lose, but 15 pounds as you're a growing person losing is probably a good start. And Google up bone density and Google up the muscle mass and what that weighs comparative. It's like 1 to 5, I think. Is that right, Kim, or something? Isn't muscle mass weight like 1 to 5 in volume? Like
I'm
muscle
sorry. I'm trying to
volume.
get my children
Yeah,
and
no
my
worries,
dog
no
settle
worries.
down so I can
I'm just saying
keep
for
up with
somebody
you.
16, when you look at the size and weight, if you put on, I think it's like 1 to 5, like the mass difference of like when you're putting on muscle versus the fat. So that's what I would ask, how much they all had to lose.
Well, Chuck, you were shaking your head as well.
Yeah, that's the thing. You can't, my wife lost 20 pounds in 8 months, but she went from 134 to 114, right? She lost 20 pounds. I lost 80 pounds in 8 months, but I needed to lose 120, right? So it's all just relative. I mean, where you are health wise, but particularly younger people. I mean, that's like Chad was saying. That's
she
So
clarified
280.
he weighed 280 and he's 5'11.
So if he's 280 and down 15, I still don't. I'm 5'11. I quit looking at the scale at 275. Keto I did for a year and barely lost any weight. I mean, we're talking nil. I did feel better, but I lost almost nothing. So keto for me did not work. But again, at 16, he's still growing. So he might have actually lost 30 pounds, is my opinion, just my view, my opinion. He might have lost 30, 40 pounds of fat and put that other, 25, whatever, back on in muscle. I would say it's that growing state and everything else that he's going through and the hormones and everything else, just what exactly is he eating? Is it just get it down to fatty meat, salt, and water? My opinion, and see how it goes.
Does he wear the same size clothes?
No bacon.
Yeah, that's
no,
what I was gonna say. Like when I was losing weight,
yeah, that's a good point, Chuck.
And it's like the scale doesn't tell the whole picture. It's not necessarily like showing fat loss or fat gain. It's just weight changes, hormonal body water fluctuations, all those things are primarily what the scale is depicting, not necessarily fat loss.
If he's down two pant sizes, I'd say he's doing pretty good.
Yeah.
Right?
Under 20 grams
also,
ketovore, do carnivore. Just try it, see what happens for 3 months. Monitor it, see how he feels, see how he looks. Make sure he's happy.
Also,
that's the biggest thing at 16.
If he's 16, is he really doing that? I mean, he might just be, yeah, that's what I'm doing, Mom, and then going and having other things too.
Having pizza and cheesecake.
I'm not saying he is. I'm just saying I would consider that as well, because I know at 16, there's no way I could have been ketovore.
Oh yeah. I do want to flag this comment because Sean is not only a channel member and loyal to me. Everyone go sub to his channel if you're not sub to his channel, but Nicole wants to listen to the detachable penis song, and now she's bringing up shake weight. So here's a story behind this. I went on Bart K's channel twice, and he sings the Invisible Penis song. And the first time I was on his channel, he sang the Invisible Penis song and inserted Nicole in its place and made it about my name. So him, Bart K's better half, calls me Mini Bart because of my soundboard. So I'm asking Sean, Carnivore Trucker, to help me come up with a theme song that is better than Invisible Penis. So I don't know if a song about shake weight is better than Invisible Penis. Let me know in the chat, but I am trying to one up Bart K in the channel theme song. And shake weight, I don't know. What do you think about shake weight, coming up with the theme song around that? Chuck saying no.
Out of my comfort zone.
I actually had the privilege of interviewing Bart, and he's a great guy, and I watch his channel quite a lot. So yes, he has a unique style on his channel. By the way, he is the utmost professionalism though when he is on somebody else's channel.
Yeah.
But I enjoy watching his channel some, and quite a lot actually. And he's quite a guy.
Yeah. Okay. So let me see if there's any more questions.
And I don't know about the shake weight, but
Shake weight. I was using Atkins shakes with carrageenan in it for my protein shakes. It caused weight gain and inflammation. Now I never eat carrageenan, which is in most processed dairy and rotisserie chicken. Kim, didn't we talk about that recently? You're muted.
Yes, and I was going to pull up the pronunciation again for carrageenan.
Gosh dang it! Leave me alone.
Carrageenan.
Carrageenan.
Bad stuff.
Boys keep growing till they are 20 plus. Yes.
Emphasis on the plus there, because I've got
generally I hit my height at 16. I didn't get any taller.
I hit my height when I was born.
Genetics, so
I got
my
fatter.
kids don't grow until they're late high school.
Oh, I apparently missed my growth spurt. If women get growth spurt, I was absent that day. I was absent. The scale is such a bad metric for me. I weight train with compound movements. I rarely use it. Yeah, I don't use a scale either.
I use it daily because it's just curiosity.
Yeah. I mean, it stresses people out, but if you're
It's
trying
like,
to lose weight,
8 pounds I gained today?
Yeah.
That's weird. What did I eat? Oh, that's right. I ate 3 pounds of chuck roast and just drank like half a gallon of water. That makes sense. You know what I mean? That's kind of how I look at it.
Yeah. Carnivore by the Shore. Thanks for subbing to Carnivore Trucker. Addie, who's up for a Bud Light Michael Greger reference. I don't like Bud Light. That's such a trash beer. I like Michelob Ultra. I'll still have Michelob Ultra every once in a while. But as far as trash beer goes, I think Michelob Ultra or Miller Lite, they're about the same level. I don't know. Bud Light is just gross.
I never drank beer. I think I maybe once, like when I lived in Honduras, I did because it was safer than the water. But it would just be like one with dinner. And I think like 10 years ago, a buddy was into craft beers and he's like, oh, try these. And I was like, I can see why people like, because they were radically different. The two beers were just radically different, but I didn't really like them or care to drink them, I guess.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Baddest cat. It's difficult to think up a catchier song than Bart's song about invisible penis. I'm sure going to try, though. I may not be able to do it, but I get an A for effort. I will come up with a song by the end of, I don't know. Sean, by the end of October, what do you say we come up with a song? Let's see. All beer is trash. What's up, Michael Johnson? I'd sooner drink dishwater than beer.
I'm pretty sure Dr. Berry says, once you're an adult, it's time to drink. If you're going to drink adult drinks, right? So get some liquor and drink it with ice. Be a man. Or a girl.
I used to love Bud Light, but
For
It's been years.
drinking, when I lived in the Caribbean, they used to drink bumbu or bumbao, which is like rum with like whatever kind of spices, nutmeg, cinnamon, whatever, mixed in with a bunch of smashed up limes. And this one guy who owned the local dance hall would make this huge 5-gallon bucket and give everybody little Dixie cups. And they could just dip into this 5-gallon bucket as drink as much as they want. Because then he said the beer sales would just go through the roof because everybody would start getting totally tipsy from this local $1.50 a fifth
Oh, geez.
Caribbean rum. And he would just sell. It's the funniest, you know.
I
That's
don't
how
know.
I always think of drinking stuff like that when I look back.
I have gin and vodka. I like the clear liquors. I don't like, my husband's like a scotch and whiskey kind of guy. I like the clear liquors.
Italian sparkling water here. I'm so hardcore.
Yeah, that's what I'm drinking.
I-
Actually, the alcohol is incredibly bad for gout. So I'm pretty much abstained.
Yeah.
So
Well, you said carnivore
Also
diet.
bad for candida.
You said it's bad for candida.
Mm-hmm.
So Bob's Pistols and Pay Dirt. So Dave Mack emailed me literally an hour before the stream. So I read that fast, the Pay Dirt, and read Pop Tart. Because Dave Mack literally just emailed me. So Bob's Pistols and Pay Dirt sounds better than Pop Tart. Have some Kilt ice cream in the
Cuisinart.
Cuisinart right now. Awesome. Yeah,
I should be having some tonight. Actually, tomorrow night I will
you're
be
making
having.
some?
Yeah.
Nice.
I haven't had any for about 3 weeks. Tomorrow's the day.
I'll see you later, Carnivore by the Shore, and enjoy your steaks and legs.
Yeah.
Hopefully they're
Yeah.
not hopefully they're like cooked like chicken legs or something and not like your spouse's legs or anything. Sean, scotch and whiskey for me too. Yeah, it's my husband's drink of choice. What's up, Joseph? You came at the end. This book is almost finished, man. So what do you guys have? What do you guys wanna
Here's
talk
one
about?
thing. What did anybody eat yet today? And what did you eat?
Yes, what did you eat, Chad?
Chuck roast in the sous vide, 24 hours. Finished it on a grill. That was mine
Meal
today.
2 meals or one?
Me just one.
One?
Yeah.
3.
3? What did you have, Kim?
I've been doing 3. I haven't had my 3rd meal yet. Might have 4th meal. You never know, but it's not going to be at Taco Bell. So let's see. This morning I made like 4 different types of meat yesterday. So this morning I had some sausages and let's see what else. And then I had a little bit of what is the name of that? Wagyu beef burgers that I made last night. And last night I had a ribeye and about a half a Wagyu beef burger and about 3 sausages. I mean, I take the comfortably stuffed thing that Dr. Berry says. I take that very seriously.
What kind of sausages? I'm curious. Like
I don't know.
like
There's some I got at
German
Sam's Club.
bockwurst, or like not like the breakfast sausage, but
I
like
don't know because I don't keep
like
the
limp.
label on it.
Yeah,
So you know
okay.
how they come in like these little packs of about 12. So I don't
Yeah.
keep the
Okay.
label. I just throw them in the freezer, and they're all
like
pretty
a small
much the same.
breakfast sausage though, like a pork sausage.
No,
or
it's
something.
big. It's like a.
Oh, it's big.
It looks
Okay,
like
cool.
kielbasa or bratwurst or I don't know.
Costco
what it
has some
is.
Italian ones that are really clean, like in their meat thing, like near where, at least in ours, where the rotisserie chickens are, and you look at it and the ingredients are just really clean,
Yeah.
which is nice.
Yeah.
And you got to make the
I don't
100%
worry
raw.
that much about. I don't really worry that much about my sausage contents,
Yeah.
or bacon.
Just make sure there's no like
Yeah.
added sugar or anything in mine.
I mean, I know if it makes me feel bad after I eat it, then I don't buy that kind again.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
So I think I mentioned what I had earlier, but this was an OMAD kind of day. So I had some blueberries, a steak, 2 Italian sausage, 3 eggs with cheese, and that was my OMAD. And for my snack, I had a piece of dark chocolate with a handful of cashews. So it was like a OMAD part 1 and a little baby snack. What did you have, Chuck?
I actually had Italian sausage, so I just ended 14 days of
Everyone
just
had sausage but
Okay,
Chad.
then.
So, and the thing with sausage for me is that I am pretty aware of the carbs. So I try not to get sausage that has too much bad stuff in it. The cleaner, the better, but particularly sugar. But I do like sausage, and I like other deli meats too. But yeah, I had a bunch of Italian sausage today, and some heavy whipping cream and some Parmesan cheese with my sausage.
Nice. Was this how many meals did you have?
Actually, I had 2 today. I'm really trying to work on eating twice a day because I really want to. I'm trying to increase some lean mass, and I want to stall any more weight loss. So at least slow it down. So
Speaking of weight loss, for the month of September, which I'm going to have my last bacon cheeseburger patty tomorrow for the month, because starting September 1st, I'm giving up dairy. I think Kim said she's down too. But yeah, a bunch of us, or Susie, I think, is down, who's in the chat. There's a bunch of us giving up dairy except cooking butter. I don't eat a lot of butter. I just cook in it. I can't give up my now ghee and butter to just cook in. But cheese, no dairy except cooking butter for the.
You doing 30 days? 30 days with no.
Starting with 30 days to see how I feel, and then if I feel noticeably better, because my face does get puffy noticeably. So I'm trying to drop the last of this weight. So if I noticeably feel better, then of course it'll be longer. So then I'll decide if it's going to be a forever thing or kind of like one of those once in a while type things. But we're just going to do 30 days at a time and just see how it goes.
Yeah, I did 14 days of just beef, and I lost 7 pounds, which I was not trying.
Yeah.
Right? But yeah, cutting out dairy is, and also I still have probably a touch of phlegm. I probably still get a little bit.
Yeah.
I used to have tragic, like probably not quite as bad as Chad, but terrible chronic sinus infections and allergies. Took pills every day, and all of that resolved doing keto and carnivore. But I still have a touch, right? About the 5th day into beef only, that was really gone. I don't know exactly what it's from yet, but
3 weeks for me. Dairy takes about 3 weeks to clean out for me because I tested so much on and off. But it's working for my no gallbladder.
Did you have the phlegm too, Chad? The dairy?
Yeah, I get a little bit of it. Right now, the only thing I'm eating is Parmesan, an actual Italian, because if it's actually from Italy, it has to be raw milk and it has to be A2.
Yeah.
So
you'll notice I clear my throat a lot, and that's the phlegm in my throat. I'm like,
yeah.
I feel it in my throat. So like that, and like the puffy face, and I know it's likely from cheese, possibly from some of the dark chocolate too. But yeah, I can't give up my dark chocolate yet. Like we'll see. But the cheese, I'm hoping. So no one's saying, says, how many pieces of cheese is that burger going to have on it? Well, I polished off the rest of the cream cheese yesterday that we have in our fridge. I'm trying to wipe this out. So I'm going to ask for extra cheese on that dang burger. It's going to be like my last meal. It's going to be like my last meal for the month.
I have noticed the last couple of days I haven't eaten much by the way of cheese or any dairy at all. And then last night I did, and it really I was noticing some sinus issues. So I'm hoping that maybe that might, knock out the post-nasal drip that I get from time to time, because it's really annoying.
I never linked that to the cheese though, but now that you guys are talking, and I did look at like phlegm and excess phlegm and stuff, and that came up. Yeah, because like
any dairy product will cause phlegm in just about everybody.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I didn't know that, but I'm like, dang, man, it's a good thing I'm giving up dairy.
I can probably live with the little, is what I'm thinking.
I'd like to live without it, but
I don't want to live. I mean, it's probably best not to do it, but unless it gets really bad, I just suffer a little.
Well, it's kind of bad here. It's why I keep muting, because I was like,
I've been muting mine once in a while too. So.
I just want to see what happens, Nicole.
Yeah.
When we cut out the dairy altogether, I just want to see what happens. I want to see, is that the true cause? This is a perfect elimination diet, carnivore, and I want to see what happens with that extra step. Do I plan on not eating cheese forever? Absolutely not. I love it, but I will be very selective about when I eat it if this is a big cause.
Then you can go into testing. which cheeses are okay. Kind of like I've been over the last year, like testing literally, from the goat cheese to the A2s to the raws to this, and the only thing that's really, like I said, this is for my no gallbladder, and I think it's the calcium in it that's like a binding. That's why people get constipation with cheese. And it seems to be slowing down because ox bile didn't work, TUDCA didn't work. All these other things have never worked with my no gallbladder. And the A2 arm has been the best. And it's also been the lowest of kind of that phlegm, histamine, any kind of thing. That's been the ticket right now. And like the Gruyere made with raw milk gave me problems. And the aged parm hasn't. So, I mean,
Yeah.
it's good.
That's a good point. Well, I want to drop Erie some love first, just in case this person has to go. Folks, I'd love to stay up and watch this, but it's late in Ireland. But I want to stay. I want to say I'm a month as a carnivore, and everything about me is better. Thank you all.
Yeah.
You are so welcome, and thank
Great
you.
job.
Awesome.
We hope. Take care.
Okay,
Keep
so
going.
We have a couple questions. Oh, what's up, Chuck?
well, I was going to ask you a question.
Did you just say upchuck?
Let me ask.
Go ahead.
And Lambs' question, but I think I know what question you're going to ask. And yeah, let's do it. Addie, question: what is a similarity between a sausage and beer? They both contain carbs. Oh, good question. Chuck, since you mentioned the carb thing, I mentioned the sugar thing. What do you say about the difference between sausage and beer?
Yeah, only bad sausage has carbs. I mean, if you add sugar, that's how it gets carbs. If you don't add any sugar, you don't get any carbs.
Yeah.
Right.
The sausage, the Italian sausage I bought didn't have any carbs and zero sugar. It had 0 carbs, 0 sugar.
Yeah. But you have to watch because a lot, you go to the store and you buy maple flavored breakfast sausage links that are pre-cooked.
That's so
okay,
nasty.
6 carbs per link, right? Or something crazy.
Yeah.
But good sausage. By the way, if you get old school good sausage put in intestine, it is like one of the best sources of collagen that you can get. It's like
to take it a step further, the carbs and sausage, depending on what the carbs are, is going to your blood sugar, right? It's going to spike your blood sugar. The beer is the alcohol component that's going to your liver.
I mean,
so your body
beer's going to have a lot more carbs in.
Yes, but what I'm saying is the alcohol component is the toxic component in the beer is going to go to the liver. It's just processed differently. The carbs in alcohol vice the carbs in something like a sausage are processed differently in the body.
Yeah. The ethanol part has to be metabolized in the liver.
Correct.
It cannot be metabolized any other way.
Yeah.
And oftentimes the other metabolism of sugars gets delayed. Not shut off completely, but delayed. Like it wants to run through the alcohol first, absolutely, which is why they talk about it slowing down your metabolism.
Yeah. Kim, Chad, do you have anything to add to this? It was a good question.
They're both served at picnics and barbecues together. That's what I was
true.
The only thing I had to add was I said that I don't have the label on my sausage, but I read it in the store. So I never buy anything with, more than 2 or 3 grams of sugar, period.
Yeah.
And I eat sausage very infrequently. So
that's a good starting.
See, they're a good, like, even somebody on carnivore who is like, oh, I can't, that even something like that is a good, safe, hey, I want to have this as a treat.
Yeah. So lambs, why do people, ladies especially, love chicken breast so much? I tried it again today, but I have a hard time to stomach it, even with grease. Ooh, Kim, the only other lady on this stream, what do you got?
I don't necessarily love chicken breast so much, so I don't know why that would apply to ladies. Not sure.
I think so. Women are more apt to eat lean and green, and men are more apt. That's a stereotype, right? That's the
brainwashing that from the whole society. Women should be thin and not talk too much and things like that. But I break all those rules. So
I know. I used to be lean and green, right? I can count, and I've said this many times in the past. I can count on one, maybe 1.5 hands how many times I've had red meat beef, steak, and all that stuff before switching to low carb. So I was very lean and green: chicken breast, ground turkey, turkey burgers, black bean burgers, turkey bacon, like very lean, right? Because that's what we were taught. That's what I was taught in my training. Saturated fat is important for X, Y, Z, but limit these things. So I don't know that this applies to women specifically, but I see what your thought process is. But yeah, I think it's just because we were told our entire lives, depending on how old you are, the leaner the better, the fattier the worse it is, right? I think it's the brainwashing. Chuck, what do you got?
Chicken
Yeah,
thighs. When I used to eat it, I don't eat it anymore. But chicken thighs, never like breast, too dry and weird.
I used to eat chicken breast, but mostly if it's fried and rolled in like copious amounts of flour and deep fried. So now, yes, we have chicken because we raise our own chicken. But the breast part to me has become, even if it's fried in bacon grease, is no longer a part that I really like very much. So, but at one time, right?
Nicole is going to have clearing her throat on her soundboard for nostalgia. Like, so we did get a super chat, a couple. Oh my goodness, I can't talk. A couple. It's the phlegm. We got a couple super chats from In-N-Out. My husband loves In-N-Out burger. Because they don't have them on the East Coast, but he swears by In-N-Out burger when his company sent him to California. It's like one of his first stops. But thank you so much for your super chat. I sent 2 super chats. Thank you so much. Do you guys eat salmon? I don't hear enough carnivores talking about fish. Great question. And he sent 2. Thank you so much for sending multiple super chats. We definitely appreciate your support. So Chad, why don't you kick this one off? Do you eat salmon or do you eat fish at all? If you do, what do you eat?
Yeah, I love salmon. I used to eat fish before because I'm from Maui, so I used to eat fish every day, 6-7 days a week.
Yeah.
As my main meal for 20 years. Salmon, I love it, and I love it with alderwood smoked salt because I lived in the Northwest for a while where they smoke salmon in alderwood, and once you have it with alderwood smoked, it's amazing. So if you can somehow get alderwood smoked salt, it just adds this awesome flavor to salmon for me. And I like mine so it's just barely done. I don't like it over, dry. So yeah, I try to eat salmon more than I should, and I keep forgetting it's there, but I have salmon on tap all the time and try to eat at least once a week, if not more.
Is that a beer reference? You have salmon on tap?
Yeah, I guess so. There you go. It's on there.
Nurse Kim, do you eat salmon or seafood at all?
Yes, I love salmon, and I will eat other seafood, particularly sardines. They're my favorite. So, but yeah, I do eat salmon. There you go. There you go. I was waiting for that. I eat salmon. I like my salmon a little on the dry side in the air fryer and crispy on the edges.
Do you put any sauce or any butter on it? Do you put any butter on it to finish it off to get it that moist and not dry flavor? No,
I don't want moist. I want dry.
Okay.
I like it dry. I don't know.
She likes the dried out
salmon. I like the salmon dry. I also used to like chicken dry, so I don't know. I don't know what it is.
I can't do dry chicken. It's like dry turkey on Thanksgiving Day. Oh man, I used to have to pile the gravy on that stuff. Oof. Or wash it down with a good beer.
Kim likes salmon jerky.
Ooh, yeah, salmon jerky. We should market that. Chuck will be our marketer.
Salmon jerky.
What do you got, Chuck?
Yeah,
You
make me some salmon jerky.
I actually really like salmon. We don't eat it very often, but not because I don't like it, but because I do. We do eat shrimp. I really like that a lot. Just sauteed in butter and garlic. And we do eat fish, like we fish, right? So sometimes we will eat fresh fish as well.
Okay.
But, I live in the middle of Missouri. It's not like I live in a place where there's a huge amount of fresh fish to go get unless you're going to the river or the lake. So, it's just not a part of what we do. And we raise meat chickens every year. I end up with 40 or 50 meat chickens every year. So we buy lots of beef. We eat lots of bacon. So, we do salmon, but it's fairly rare. Shrimp more often. But and yes, and definitely thank you, In and Out, for the super chat. So I know, let me just say this real quick, Nicole. I know a good number of these people are watching actually from my channel. I'm not looking at the chat all that much, guys, but I greatly appreciate you. I've seen you dropping some comments in there. So
yeah,
I
absolutely
appreciate you stopping by and hanging out.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we have a good amount of people in here from all of our channels. So we definitely appreciate you guys being here for sure. Addie, before we get to your, the chat's going too fast. Before we get to your thing, I just have to pull this up real quick. Lambs, can we have Nicole sardine reflex once more? I'm going to have to record this for my soundboard. Blech!
Yes, do it, Nicole.
Okay. Sorry, Addie. Now we got your question. Question about salmon. Well, I don't eat salmon. I was never a big fish person. The only time of year I eat seafood, any kind of seafood, is Christmas Eve dinner. So my dad's side of the family were Italian, so we have the Italian feast, the fish and the pasta and all that stuff. We don't do the 7 fish because there's just 4 of us and there's no way. But we do a different kinds of fish, 4 different fish, and then the pasta. So I'm likely going to have pasta, I feel like crap later, but that's literally the only time I really have fish is at one time of year. I've just never been a really big seafood person. But question about salmon. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Kim.
So sorry, I have to add to that. You made me think of something. So I never liked fish for years. I would only eat shrimp and McDonald's fish sandwiches, which do not taste like fish at all. And I just like the tartar sauce basically. So yeah.
I do too. I love tartar sauce.
Don't eat much tartar sauce anymore,
but do you guys eat the skin with the scales on it? Blech, on it?
Not on salmon, but on bluegill or bass, not scales. You descale them. But,
I eat the skin on.
The skin on is actually the skin on bluegill. Maybe that's what I should do a live on. We can eat bluegill. You scale bluegill. You fry them in bacon grease, crispy on the outside, tender on the inside. Yeah, the skin is awesome. It adds lots of great flavor, but not the scales. That's a little Unless you're doing sardines, because they're super small. You just eat them.
Craig
does he eat scales?
No,
I didn't know people
even
ate
in the
scales.
islands that we would eat daily, like we'd always scale it. A lot of times we'd eat with the skin on because the way it's cooked, whether it's cooked on a ripping fire or in the thing. The way I cook the salmon, I don't eat it because I usually just have it a certain way. If you take the salmon and dry the skin, then put it down in a nice searing hot pan in some lard or ghee or whatever you want, then it's okay.
So fair. Oh, Chuck's daughter. Yeah. Do you want fresh salmon? We're about to go get some from Alaska and can share.
Yes, I do want some.
Wait, is that for everyone or is that just for your dad?
I'm guessing that's
because I want some.
I'm guessing that's just for me, but
yeah,
you can ask.
That I shouldn't have highlighted that question. Come on.
I will say one thing. The only reason I eat salmon mostly is because I can get it from Costco in the frozen, and it's actually really good. Where I'm also so stuck up about fish being from the islands, I won't eat anything that I don't catch. Yeah. Except for salmon. Their salmon happens to be good because even their mahi is kind of, and their ahi's like,
I should try some, Chad.
Mike said he just
I like the Costco one, the Kirkland, the raw. It's like, the raw when you got to cook, and it's wild caught. I will never eat farm raised fish ever of any kind. That's me.
Right. Well, you could eat fish from my farm. They're not really farm raised.
Well, there you go. We're just farm grown in the pond.
Mike said he just had 2 pounds of grilled steak and 6 eggs. No beef heart today because I forgot to unfreeze them yesterday. Regardless, compensated with more beef tallow. Dang, I can't do. I had 5 eggs I couldn't eat them all yesterday. It's just after a while, I just get sick of eggs. I can't do a lot of eggs. I'll do like 3 or 4, sometimes 5, but I can't do more than that. I'm finding.
You got to buy more hens.
Yeah.
I can't eat more than 3 eggs at a time.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Lamb
It's not
says,
like-
thanks, thanks from her fat girl. Maybe end the stream with one. Blech. Yeah. No insanity. What about fish heads? My grandmother would eat the heads, waiting for Nicole gag. She also likes swirl bird. What the heck? Blech. So hold on. My
That's
dad.
a double.
My dad. So again, Italian feast, fish and pasta. My mom and I one year went, and I was probably in my early 20s. I think I was out of the military by this point, out of active duty. We went food shopping, or we were out and about, whatever. My dad was in the kitchen cooking, because that's what he does. And he was like deboning the fish and cooking the fish and all that stuff. I go into the kitchen, like the house smelled like fish. I go into the kitchen and I was like, "Hey, Dad, what are you doing?" He's like, "Oh, just cooking up some fish." I gagged because I saw the fish heads in the sink, and he saw me gag. So what does he do? He takes a fish head out of the sink, says, "Hello, Nicole," chases me around the house with the fish head, making it talk, and that scarred me for life. Maybe he is why I do not eat fish. Blech.
That's why you don't eat fish.
How about my fish, the eyeball story eating?
No.
Oh, I heard that story, and I did not like that.
ahi like eyeballs. Like, yeah.
Ooh, I don't even remember which live it was on, but I heard that story, and I was just like,
they eat everything usually. I don't really like the head parts. They used to take them and fry them till they're just like basically they're like pork rinds when you're done with it, but it's fish.
You done,
Yeah.
Chad?
Oh yeah, I'm done.
No disgusting stories on this stream. That was so gross. All right, let's see if we have any more questions. Guys, we've been at this for almost 2 hours. I do have an early start to my day because we are driving to the Jersey Shore tomorrow, and I want to be respectful of everyone's time. So if there are any further questions or anything else you guys want to chat about while you have us on your computer screens or your phones, drop it in the chat and we will be sure to hit it. But to wrap things up, why don't we go around the horn and tell people what we have coming up in the YouTube world to look forward to? Nurse Kim, why don't you kick us off? What do you have coming up?
Why do I have to start?
Because
one question I didn't want to start, and I get to start it. You go.
Because you talked the least on this stream.
I did. That was highly unusual of me. No, you go first.
Okay, Chad, what do you have? What do you have coming up? I'll go before Kim.
Tomorrow, Kilby Life. We're gonna do a live, so it should be fun. It's a good guy. And then just working on making more videos, keep pushing them out, having fun, enjoying all the feedback, and just loving it.
Good stuff. What about you, Chuck? What do you got coming up?
I'm actually going to be interviewing Alia Wells next Wednesday night. Now, that won't be live, but the video will be out the next day. I'm doing a live, I think, on the 14th with Jeff from Everyday Carnivore, which is going to be a Thursday night. I'm going to begin to do lives on Thursday night.
Nice.
Me and Chad are going to do, sometime soon, we're doing the Carnivore Q&A with Being AI. Right? It's 2 old guys and Being AI on a live stream. And
we might get a third in there with us too.
What?
We might get a third in there with us too.
Yeah, actually, I think
somebody in.
Alia said she would come. Dave Max said he would come. I've had a few people. So I don't, that might be terrifying, but it will be fun. And outside of that, I have some other videos coming up as well about I'm doing some workouts and stuff like that. Maybe before and after pictures will show up.
I'll step backward 1 second. I know Chuck's going to talk about it. Actually, after this, getting on with Dave Mack, just on our own thing, because we're going to start this kind of workout thing, putting on strength, muscle, stuff like that. And that's going to be pretty, I think, good.
Nice.
Taking the next step.
Yeah, you need to call me.
Yeah, I'll be calling you right after this.
Call me. Kim, call me. So for
Hi, girl.
watch it, girl. So Kim and I have an announcement where hopefully we can make this happen. We're still trying. We have to call and find out. But I'm going away this weekend, so I do have videos scheduled, but I don't have any lives coming up. But I am doing a vlog. I am going to vlog my eating on vacation when other people aren't doing what I'm doing. I'm going to show you a little bit about the boardwalk and the beach I grew up on and the May Ferry and all that. So I'm going to take you guys on a little tour. My first vlog. It's going to suck. It's going to be really bad, but I'm going to record it and I'm going to post it. But what else I have coming up with, I'm excited about that. But Friday of next week, I'm going live with Bart and Dave, Bart K and Dave. We're going to do a live reaction video of Abby Sharp, my favorite dietitian. And then on the 12th, I am doing an interview with Dr. Tony Hampton, and we're going to talk about diabetes specifically. So that's going to be a really, really informative talk. And he does like to dance, so maybe we'll break out in some dance moves on the stream because you all know I like a good dance party. And then Friday, September 15th, I am going to be interviewed by Dr. Sean Baker. It's going to be pre-recorded, so I don't know when that's going to come out, but some good stuff in the works.
Yeah, I've got one with Baker coming up, I think on the 12th or something.
Mine's the following week, I think.
The Revero podcast thing.
Yeah.
That'll be fun.
So we did. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
The super chat that came up there.
Yeah, that is for me. I believe so. Thank you so much, Sean. I appreciate you a ton. Thank you so much for the $10. I am on carnivore and sometimes get sugar cravings late at night. I'm wondering if I'm not eating enough. Sometimes my morning blood glucose is as low as 67. Yes, that is super low. You're not eating enough. How many times a day do you eat? And what are you eating? And how long have you been carnivore? I know those are a lot of questions, but that is a pretty low fasting glucose, not blood glucose. I know Kim can probably touch on this as well, but you want to stay between, I would say, like 75, 85 on average would be healthy because you're not getting too close to the threshold for pre and you're not getting too dangerously low. But if you're only eating one meal a day, depending on how many times a day you're eating, maybe incorporate another small meal into that. I don't know if you're eating carbs, if you're zero carb carnivore. So if you can just drop in the chat, how many times a day do you eat? Are you zero carb and how long have you been carnivore? I think that will help me provide a better answer. But Kim, given this information, do you have anything to add outside of increase your portions, increase your fat, and decrease carbs if they're eating carbs?
So I would have a different take on it. Normal 70 to 100. Most of us are not used to being normal. 67, lots of people, especially on the carnivore diet, do that at night and they don't have any symptoms. The thing that's concerning to me is that you're saying that you have the sugar cravings. So I'm wondering if you have like hypoglycemic symptoms as well as the cravings.
That's what I was moving head was.
Yeah, I saw where you were going with it, but I was like, I'm just going to come at it from a different angle. But I know lots of people in the carnivore community that drop down to 67 at night. So I don't know. I mean, so are you in bed when you're having these sugar cravings? Or I know this sounds like a silly question. Yeah. Or are you just like hanging out, getting ready to go to bed? I mean, if that were me and I was having sugar cravings before bed, I would probably be, it would probably be because I was bored and needed to just go to bed. But.
Yeah, there's the key. Right?
Okay, so you're definitely under eating
1,000 calories a day.
I guess it's fasting time restricted eating. Yeah, that's where my thought process went initially, because when people initially switch to carnivore diet, they do have a hard time with increasing their intake because you're so used to a high carb diet. You're so used to eating volume to where fat and protein is very, very filling that in the beginning, it can be hard to get your intake high enough and in a healthy range. That's why I was wondering how many times a day you're eating and what your intake looks like. So yeah, you definitely need to increase your intake. Your blood sugar, your body produces glucose when you sleep. Your body does produce its own glucose, and that's what prevents. Now there are outliers and times where it does get dangerously low when things happen, but that's what prevents you from going dangerously low, because your body does self-regulate blood glucose to a certain extent. Because of that, your blood sugar is not dropping lower when you wake up, because your body is helping you out. But because you're eating zero carb, which is good, but you're restricting your intake, you're definitely not eating enough fat. And if you are a high protein carnivore, you could be converting too much glucose as well. So I would increase your fat. I don't know where your protein level is, but maybe monitor your protein level for at least 2 weeks. And the standard recommendation is about 0.8 to 1 gram per kilogram of body weight for protein as a starting point. So maybe track your protein for at least 2 weeks to see where you are on the intake, to make sure you're not eating higher protein and lower fat carnivore diet, because that could produce the excess glucose. But yeah, you definitely want to increase your intake 100%.
And
What else?
also another question, are you, I didn't ask this and I just took for granted that you weren't diabetic. Are you diabetic? Because if you are diabetic and you're dropping down that low at night, that could be concerning.
Yeah. What do you got, Chatter Chuck?
Yeah, I think that you're right, Nicole, in the issue that people come in with this mindset. One of the things that I just always stress, and most people do, especially if you first started, here's the reality. You should eat when you're hungry, every time you're hungry, and you should eat until you're stuffed. I don't care how many calories. You shouldn't be counting calories. You shouldn't be portion controlling. You should be eating fatty red meat and other assorted meats, and you should be eating when you're hungry. Now, if you're not hungry, that's one thing. But if you've actually doing intermittent fasting purposely, counting calories, doing 1,000 calories a day, you're not actually doing yourself any good, right?
Yeah.
So especially in the beginning, eat. If you're hungry 3 times a day, eat 3 times a day. Eventually, your body gets sorted out. My blood sugar, I tested many times a day for quite a number of probably 2 months or so, 3 to 5 times a day. And I would see my blood sugar sometimes 71, but I would also see my blood sugar in the morning, fasting glucose at 98, right? Yeah. So it's a pretty wide range, but a lot of times, especially in the beginning, it takes a while for your body to really just get where it wants to be, right? So, but yeah, 1,000 calories a day is probably way less than. I mean, my wife eats more than that. She weighs 115 pounds.
Yeah, if we're talking calories, I mean, I wouldn't even track that. But
yeah.
The one thing I will say, caution about listening to your signals, if you're metabolically unhealthy and you're just starting out, you're not going to be able to trust your hunger cues in the beginning, right? Because your body's still healing. So I would not start with OMAD. I would not start with fasting at this stage. I would start with just eating 3 square meals a day. Just eat 3 square meals a day, beef, butter, bacon, and eggs. Stick with those 4 things to get you started. And then after you get acclimated, then you can start messing with, okay, if you want to do 2 MAD, but we want to make sure you're getting enough food and you can get everything your body can possibly need in beef, butter, bacon, and eggs predominantly. I would start with that, 3 square meals a day. I do not recommend fasting at this juncture because it's causing you to undereat. And unfortunately, if you are early on, you're really not going to be able to trust your body's signals at this point, because you have to give your body time to heal, like Chuck says, to include your hormones and your body's signaling, which all that is controlled in your gut. So you have to give your body time to heal, get the inflammation down, get the signaling in control. Then you can start trusting your intuition and your body's signaling. But until then, I would just say beef, butter, bacon, eggs 3 times a day, 3 square meals a day. And I do not recommend fasting this early on because it's apparently causing you to drastically undereat. But Kim, Sean is not diabetic. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Chad.
Do you ever get any kind of cold extremities, like fingertips, kind of get the chills, anything like that? It's at night. That's often another sign of malnourishment, undereating. You know what I mean? There's a couple of signals or triggers, and that's often one of them. You kind of get this like shiver. Again, it depends on how hot your house is, but that cold fingertips are kind of like that, a little bit of cold, achy fingertips in the mornings can also be another sign to look for. But I'd say the same thing. Just, I'm kind of old school. If you want to eat 3 square a day, or just eat when you're hungry and eat till you're full and just go through it. The BBB thing is good because it is like pretty well balanced. You don't have to worry. Like New York strip to me is too lean. Ribeye's good and chuck's good, but for some people, they thrive on New York strip. So at this point in the game, you're also like this moving target of trying to figure out where your fat ratio is. So that BBE thing, have a bunch, just make like choke amounts, a lot, like make a lot, have it in there so you can just go in there and pull some out when you need it. The other trick I used to do is keep like 18 hard-boiled eggs in the fridge. And that way, like if I'm like, what, if I open the door and I think, what do I want to eat? I'm not hungry. I'm grazing. But if I go, okay, eggs, yeah, I'm going to do those. And you can have like 4 hard-boiled eggs, top yourself up. Have those foods on hand, ready to go, so you don't have to go, oh, I got to make it and everything else. Kind of like Kim and I were even talking about the leftovers. We both cook, so leftovers are always there.
And then I freeze my leftovers so that, in 5 days, if I feel like eating something that I don't feel like eating now.
Before
and then I do that with bacon.
Before I kick this back over to Kim, he did say, I do get cold at night. And he did say, I was hoping the night chills was a good sign, maybe an indication of fat burning. So I will kick this over to Kim, Nurse Kim.
Yeah.
But one of fat's job is body temperature regulation. That is one of fat's main job. So you might just not be, obviously you're not eating enough, which means you're not eating enough fat, and that could throw off your internal body temperature, because that's what fat does. It regulates your internal body temperature. But Kim, Nurse Kim, what do you got? He's not diabetic, gets cold at night, and gets night chills.
I wanted to make sure that I wasn't giving any dangerous information to a diabetic, especially one that takes insulin or, whatever. But no, if you're not a diabetic, I would also think if for a fact you're eating 1,000 calories, which I don't count calories, but that's not enough food at all. Like for nobody, I would think. Yeah. I mean, maybe if you were on a starvation, low calorie diet, but we all know that got us to the place that most of us were at when we started, keto or carnivore or ketovore. I would definitely, in the beginning, and even myself, like being 120 plus days in, however many it is, I want to make sure that I eat 2 or 3 times a day, because I don't feel like I'm at the point yet where I really need to be doing a lot of fasting. And that's just me personally. I feel like my body's still kind of trying to reach an equilibrium with the illness and the candida and in my guts trying to heal itself. So I feel like right now weight loss is not even my top priority. Just being healthy is my top priority, and then I'm going to try to work on the weight loss a little more.
That's a good point. Too. I think focus on weight loss this early on, focus on just getting healthy, and then the weight loss will naturally come. That's a good point, Kim. What do you got, Chad?
Yeah, and also what Craig said, the cold at night could also be low iodine.
And if you're eating eggs, you will get a good amount of iodine. So just by eating beef, butter, bacon, and eggs, you will get
and all the hard-boiled eggs in there. That's what I was going to say. Like, I kind of learned that early on because again, that's been a long time, but I kind of got these, and this is where everybody picks these things up at, you know what I mean? As we move along this path, I found out because I kind of had that cold thing. I'm like, what is this? And this is like 3 years ago. And I was like, we didn't have these great chats and stuff as much then. And on that iodine and the other stuff, it's one of those things that if you start doing the eating and really eating and having those hard-boiled eggs on hand to maybe top up before you go to bed, and then it still happens, then you might think, okay, there's something else down the next line, to start researching, but at least it's that opening door. And the fact you kind of said that, and weren't diabetic right after that, it kind of is usually a pretty big outlier.
Yeah. We do have 2 more questions that we will answer, and then we will call it a night. So Bob's Pistols and Pay Dirt, not Bob's Pistols and Pop-Tarts. What is your best advice for weight loss? Okay, I'm not going to start with Kim. I'll start with Chuck.
Well, I mean, you know, it depends. Here, I think it's so important to know what kind of person you are. I mean, I did not necessarily do what was best, but it might have been best for me. So, I mean, what works? What worked for me? Extremely strict keto or carnivore. And I mean, keto would be like truly under 20 grams a day total carbs. And now, you know, in the beginning, you know, what that means basically is this: no grains, no processed foods, no sugars ever, no seed oils. That's it. You cut all those things out and you eat fat and animal products, and you want to throw a few onions and green peppers in, have at it. Don't count calories. Don't portion control. Eat at least twice a day. And, you know, I did intermittent fasting purposely in the beginning. You know, if that works for you, it works for you. But the thing is, if you begin to restrict calories and portion control, you really do yourself a disservice. In fact, it's just a fact. Restricting calories when the body is hungry, unless you're fasting, actually decreases metabolism. And you continue to do that over and over and over again. It is difficult to ever get that metabolism back without actually doing carnivore or something similar, extended periods of fasting and stuff like that. So, you know, that's it. Get rid of processed food, grain, seed oils, and eat real food. And you'll
I want to add something to that, to what he just said. I think that's exactly what happened to me in the beginning. I was so excited by being carnivore and like my hunger just kind of leaving me with all the satiating fatty meat that I just got really overzealous, especially during my little sardine fast that I did. You know, I just thought that would be good to teach me hunger signals. And it did. It worked for that. It was really good for that, because I was somebody who would be likely to binge eat, especially donuts and things like that. But it worked good for that. But I also think that it kind of did a disservice to me in that it made me get into this habit of wanting to fast way too early. And my body was not nourished enough to do that. I was metabolically just a disaster. And, you know, I needed to fix that before I started any fasting. And I still don't feel like I'm at the point. And I think that I feel like my body will know. I could be wrong about this, but I feel like my body will know when it's time to start fasting again, because I will become more satiated with the food. Right now, I'm almost ravenous, you know, but I'm still losing weight. I'm still at least maintaining, you know, I'm not like dropping like this or anything, but I'm at least maintaining and kind of, you know, doing the up down thing. But I can tell in my, you know, my limbs, especially my legs, I look in the mirror and they're just a totally different shape. So, and it's good.
I do think there is a difference between, like, now I know what me and Chad do, and maybe Nicole is doing this now. People would often say that we do intermittent fasting now, or I do fasting now. And really, that's really not what I do any longer. I really do eat when I'm hungry. So I almost have to force myself to eat twice a day. Now, true fasting, to really in the beginning, especially until your appetite sorts itself out, if you're going to do fasting, it really is going to be not eating, right? Like, so I think that if you're careful and you get some information, I think there can be some real benefit to doing that, even early on. But you really need to be aware of what you're doing. There's a difference between fasting and calorie restriction. And so you just need to, Dr. Jason Fung has a huge amount of information about fasting, intermittent fasting, longer phase fasting, which he's a kidney specialist, if you're not familiar with him, and has a whole protocol for reversing type 2 diabetes in his patients. where he uses fasting extensively and low carb diet. But so just be aware, the calorie restriction thing is really, really bad. If you're going to fast, understand what fasting is and get some information before you just jump in. And eventually, most people on carnivore eat less, not because we're actually skipping meals or going hungry. We eat less because we eat nutrient-dense food, and eventually our body gets sorted out, and it just becomes natural. So, so anyway, there is lots of people do intermittent fasting purposely, but, you should certainly not be doing it willy-nilly without kind of understanding what's going on. And maybe not right in the beginning. I mean, that's just depending on where you're at, right?
So let's end it with Chuck. Well, first off, we got another super chat.
I'm going to jump in on that one really quickly on weight loss.
I just have to go. I just have to go in like 15 minutes.
Okay, I'm going to be pretty quick. I lost over 100 pounds doing it. Been stable at my weight for over 2.5 years. Don't know yourself. Don't try to cheat it, like basically that under eating. The times that I would kind of think, well, I'll go a little bit hungry and lose more would always be a bad stall. I ate when I'm hungry, and I ate till I'm full, and it didn't matter what time of day it was or if it was 2 or 3 or 1 a day. That's just how I did it. And it was always good fatty meats, ribeyes and chuck steak, and give it time. I stalled for a whole month coming from keto to carnivore. Some people stall for 2 or 3 months. So just give it time and just eat when you're hungry, eat till you're full or satiated, and just give it time. And don't ever think you can cheat it. Don't ever think, oh, I'll go a little hungry and it'll kick. That's one of my biggest. And the other thing is, if you do clean keto, which is like whole fruits, veggies, whatever you want to do, keeping under that carb count, do not, I think, use alternate foods. Don't go, oh, I can have keto barbecue sauce. I can have keto teriyaki chicken. I think that kind of can slow things down. And also it doesn't change your bad habits into good new habits and change why you've got this eating problem to do. So I think if you're going to do like, some broccoli, some carrots, and some really good solid meat, that kind of keto is fine if you got to transition into that. If you came from carbs, avoid all the almond flour, choffly junk. If you came from the heavy veggie world, look into oxalate dumping. And you might want to take 1 month to transition into any of this by doing like a clean keto and kind of working into that. That's what I'm going to say.
Okay. So we do have a super chat, and then I know Chuck has to ask one final question that we talked about in the email, and then we'll end it with Lamb's question, not a question. So In-N-Out, again, I love In-N-Out. Do any of you guys remember the Dr. Atkins diet from the early 2000s? It seems like Dr. Atkins never got the credit he deserved for pioneering the ketogenic diet for weight loss. Yes. Thank you so much again.
That was like from the 80s or 90s.
I was going to say, I think that was like even like the late 70s, 80s was the first round, and then he came back around because I remember that when I was younger.
So, and the interesting thing is,
when that was going on for me.
And I've not looked in detail into his diet recently, although I was familiar with it. But honestly, even Dr. Atkins didn't pioneer it, right? The ketogenic diet, a keto diet was pioneered, 100 or more years ago. 150 years ago for diabetics, for kids with epilepsy. It's been a thing. And of course, if you go back past that, that was a natural way of eating, right? It's
Dr. Salisbury. We had the exact same thought.
Dr. Salisbury,
Dr. Salisbury, exactly. Another one, the whole Salisbury steak. He was another one that was pushed over, glossed over for.
Yeah, but I'll tell you why. There was no YouTube. None of us, I would not have known about any of this today if it wasn't for YouTube. That's just a reality.
Yeah.
The only reason why things are going to change now is because of social media and because the ability for people just like us, just people, to get on and share their story. Right? I'd have never found Dr. Barry or anybody else.
We can communicate with people outside of our, sphere.
Yeah.
Now.
Exactly. I would have never known any of this.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Thank you again so much for the super chat. But yeah, I have a ton of meat only dieters, pioneers on my channel. I've done, I think, 3 so far, 3 or 4, and I have more coming. So yeah, I've gone as far back as the early 1800s to include Salisbury and Cantani and a couple others. So I think Atkins just made it mainstream.
Yeah, well, In and Out said he pioneered it for weight loss, which yes,
Yeah.
that's quite true.
Yeah,
Not for diabetes or for epilepsy.
he made it mainstream. Yeah.
His book thing was a huge hit, and I remember that.
So Chuck, why don't we end it with your question, and then we'll all have to flex for the YouTubes for the question, not a question.
Okay, so my question, which I'd ask you, was, or I wanted to ask you, originally, or how did you, or when did you go and get your nutrition certification?
Yeah, so I've gotten this question a bit, and so Chuck emailed me a couple days ago, but I've been so busy in my business that I just haven't been checking my Google Gmail. So I said, just ask me during the stream because a couple other people are interested as well. But yeah, so I got my credentials in 2020, so it's been a little over 3 years, and I got my exercise, my nutrition and exercise nutrition through Precision Nutrition. And then I got my senior nutrition from AFPA, the Fitness Professionals Association. And then my emotional eating psychology from Integrative Nutrition. So I have 3 different certifications. The nutrition exercise were like 1. And then I have senior nutrition, so specifically 65 plus adults. And then, of course, emotional eating. So that's what I struggled with. But yeah, so I got all 3 of those at different times. But I will say, if you are looking to get educated in nutrition, because I've taken nutrition classes in college as well, and exercise science and all that stuff. I've always been interested in nutrition and fitness. But if you are going to go and get your nutrition education now, and you are following a low carb diet, I will say you will want to beat your head against the wall. But it's not required in most states. It's not regulated. But I have had businesses ask me for my credentials, to send them my credentials before they will contract me. So I will say, if Chuck or anyone is interested in getting your certifications and credentials, whether it's a bachelor's degree, master's degree, or what have you, just know that it's going to oppose your current lifestyle. You just have to suffer through it. Just grin and bear it. Just get through it, and then once you get through it, as long as you're not a registered dietitian or practicing in a clinical setting, you can promote and practice a low-carb lifestyle. I practice a low-carb lifestyle with my clients because most of them are obese and diabetic. That's primarily who I work with, obesity and diabetes. But if you have more specific questions, I'll be more than happy to answer it. But that's kind of like my whole stance on the nutrition thing, because it's going to go against what you believe for the most part, and it's going to contradict itself as well.
Yeah, well, that's a given.
Yeah,
and I got mine from a Cracker Jack box. Just kidding. Wait, I want to go to that primal. I want to go to that primal nutrition course that Nisha went to.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's not just a nutrition course; it's like a health coach and nutrition thing.
Yeah.
I always used to do this thing when I dived, because everybody always wondered, because I taught diving for 15 years of my life. And people always like, oh, when did you get your thing? And I'd always go, let's see, 8:39, 7, and always do that kind of joke to them, like trying to count back the hours.
Yeah.
Newer people are usually better because they're more gung-ho. In my opinion, on a lot of these things that people get into, if they're really like 40 years into it and they're not gung-ho still, some of the younger people I think are always better at newer things because they're gung-ho.
Yeah. I love Nina Teicholz, by the way. She's the one that, got me started being pissed off about my industry, because she's who I started going down the rabbit hole, and I came across her and the guidelines and my training and what they're based on. And yeah, I started getting very, very angry. Natasha said she went to IIN. I wasn't a fan of their program, honestly. with my emotional eating. It was kind of disappointing in my opinion, but AFPA, AAFPA, and Precision Nutrition, I think are really, really good. In my opinion, IIN, at least for the nutrition side, I wasn't impressed.
I looked at Precision Nutrition, I think online, and another one.
Yeah, AAFP is good. The fitness professionals, the Precision Nutrition, I like them because they talk about the psychology. They talk more about just the food, like the psychology of it all, and that's what I was more so interested in. But yeah, that's who I went through for them. They're also affiliated with CrossFit, and I was doing CrossFit at the time. That's how I became aware of them. But Addie said I got my degree in dietetics from Dr. Michael Greger. Okay, speaking of Dr. Michael Greger, everyone show us your guns.
I don't have any yet.
Show us your guns. That was a question.
I do have some, but
You want me to go upstairs and get it? I think I'll
I
get
can't.
it.
There you go.
Can't show them on
We'll
YouTube.
get demonetized.
We'll be banned.
Yeah.
Hey, I really think that Professor Barquet should start a certified nutrition course.
Anyone could. I technically could because I'm an LLC and I'm educated. I can start at a course. But yeah, Mike brought up a good point. NASM is good too. I don't know about their nutrition side. I have a friend who's a personal trainer through them and just got their nutrition certification, and she said that that Precision Nutrition's was better. Precision Nutrition ranks in the top when it comes to the nutrition side. That's just what I heard. I don't know that much about NASM as far as nutrition goes. But yeah, NASM is another one that offers nutrition.
I just want something that's going to be geared toward low carb, keto, carnivore.
Yeah.
I don't want to listen to a bunch of, stuff I've heard before and don't believe in.
Yeah.
Actually, see, I guess what I was thinking was I didn't really care what they taught, right? It made no difference to me because I actually just go and get educated by all the people I actually trust, right? So I spend my time watching, Dr. Berry, Professor K, Dr. Chafee, and a handful of others, probably a good number of many other people. The sad thing is we probably have spent more time studying nutrition than most doctors receive in medical school.
Yeah.
I think if we could all take a test on like Dr. Berry's, the Dr. Berry test certification, we would probably all be certified Dr. Berry nutritionists.
Yeah, I think if you just go through Precision Nutrition, you have to recertify every 2 years. It's like 150 question final exam. It's in depth. It's a lot of information. They smack you with all sorts of. It brought me back to high school biology and all these things and physiology. So you will learn things, the sciencey things that aren't that are important to know, like the biochemistry basic. Like we don't get the full biochemistry course like Nurse Kim got, but we do get basic biochemistry as it pertains to metabolic processes, energy conversion, and all that stuff, and nutrient absorption. So it is a lot of good information. Most of it is biology, physiology, hormonal regulation, all that stuff. It's just when it comes to the macro portion, you're going to want to beat your head against the wall, and the guidelines, you're going to want to beat your head against the wall. But when it comes to the other stuff, most of the training is the other stuff.
So you learn all about how it works, and then they tell you all this stuff, and then they say, and do all this bad stuff to it.
Correct. That's why I said very contradictory.
That's perfect.
That's why I said it's very
contradictory. Been properly indoctrinated in the.
I think for me, I like to just know all these weird little things that I picked up. Like the cold extremities, and go, okay, this can trigger that, and know where to look, and then just say, hey, go to this person, go to that person. At least that's me. Just, it's interesting too where people want to go, because I always say in a lifelong past, I used to be in EMS, emergency medical service stuff, and used to do a lot of stuff. I actually used to have a medic and first aid instructors rating, and used to do a lot of junk in the EMS. If I ever got in an accident, I want an EMS guy coming out to save me. If I got to get a heart surgery, I want to go into a heart surgeon. if I want diet advice, I want to go to a dietitian that's smart about that. If I want someone to take care of me, like in the hospital, obviously nurses are the best thing in the world for that. And there's all these things that it is true though. Everybody needs to, you know what I mean, hold their things. And I learned that when I did EMS, because you know, we used to see stuff that just, you know, just blows your mind
Yeah.
on what you would see, you know, first on call on stuff. And it's like, there was instances where I would have people try to take over a scene or something like that, especially in the islands, like on, you know, near drowning incidents. And I'm like, you know, dude, you don't, you know, I don't care if you're a doctor, you're not, I see this daily. I literally have done thousands of water rescues and thousands of that kind of stuff and done multiple resuscitations from that kind of stuff. And people don't know. So I think often it's also knowing your niche and getting good at a niche. You know, that's kind of how I look at it. At least me from this YouTube thing, I've got my little niche and I know, like, you know, Kim, like I've already thrown stuff her way. I've thrown stuff Nicole's. I've thrown stuff, you know, because if I know somebody brings up a question and I know somebody that knows that, I'm like, hey, go over there.
Yeah.
Because I think that's where the value is also knowing, say, whatever, this whole community of carnivores, if you can relate to one person that somebody's done, Kim's going to be branded the Candida nurse. You know what I mean? With like what she knows about it though, because then it's like, hey, she's got experience on it. Me with no gallbladder, I've got experience on that. I can at least share what I've gone through. You know, those kind of things I think are also what helps the community so much.
I hate to cut this short, but I really do have to pack because we're leaving in the morning and we've been at this for 2.5 hours.
Long one.
So yeah. So I apologize that
no way.
We're gonna have to, yeah, but
nope, not allowed to apologize.
But thank you to Chad, Kim, and Chuck for being a part of this carnivore panel for this Wednesday evening. Thank you guys.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Thank you, John.
And thank you, chat. Thank you, everyone who stuck it out with us for these 2.5 hours. This was a long one, but I hope you got a lot out of it. I hope you got value. Thank you to everyone who stuck with us. Please do drop each of us a sub if you haven't already, and drop this video a like. Again, chat is at Minimalist Carnivore. Nurse Kim is at Nurse Kimberly Lane. Chuck is at Breaking Thin, and I am at Former Fat Girl. So thank you again so much, and we will see you in the next one. Have a fantastic evening, everyone. See you later.
Thanks. Bye, guys.
Bye, guys. Thank you.